Right before we begin, I would like to say if anybody's speaking, to make sure you talk into the microphone here, and then for board members, if we are talking, make sure that the microphone is on as well, just so that everybody can hear us online. Let the record show that there is a quorum of board members present today. Myself, Matthew Aguilar, Lionel Gonda, Mari Benavides, Diana Hughes, Dora Mata Rodriguez, Adrian Ramirez, and Marco Reyes are all here. The time is now 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. As president, I call this meeting of the Pearsall Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Moving on to item 2, invocation.
Everybody please rise. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, for your grace and your mercy on each of us. As we move forward into this meeting, we place this agenda into your hands. We ask that you give us guidance and knowledge, wisdom and discernment to fully understand all the items as we vote for in only the best interest of our district. We thank everyone that is here. We congratulate each individual being acknowledged tonight on their achievements. We give all praise and glory in your name, Christ Jesus. Amen.
And we'll be moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance, item 3, led by the junior high students.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what they're waiting.
All right, we'll be moving on to item 4, recognitions, campus student and staff of the month.
To recognize our campus students and staff of the month, we have Mr. Adam Martinez, our assistant superintendent, as well as our campus principals.
Good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board, Dr. Spoor, and community members. I would like to first call up our Ted Flores Elementary Principal, Ms. Cordelia Gonzalez, to award her student and staff member of the month.
All right, good evening, board.
Good evening.
Starting with Student of the Month. We hold our Student of the Month in high regard, as always. This was from her teacher. Adelina is a wonderful student who consistently shows good citizenship by following the rules and always coming to class ready to work. She is a hard worker who gives her best every day. Adelina is exactly the kind of student we should be proud of to have here at TFE. She is a role model and a friend to all. I am truly honored to have her in my class from Ms. Justiny Martinez, first grade teacher. All right. Next up for Employee of the Month for the month of November. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing someone who has truly become the heartbeat of our campus. And if you drop off at the second grade drop-off, you will see her dancing and greeting students. When we talk about positivity, consistency, and service to others, one name stands out immediately. That's our counselor, Marcy Price. Every single day, she shows up with a smile that sets the tone for the building. She brings a calm presence, a helping spirit, and a level of support that makes students, staff, and families feel seen, valued, and cared for. Whether she's guiding students through tough moments, collaborating with teachers, or simply offering a word of encouragement in the hallway, she brings joy into every corner of our school. And she does it without ever seeking attention or credit. She simply does it because that's who she is. She is the person we all rely on. The one who says, "How can I help?" and truly means it. The one who lifts us up on the hard days and celebrates with us on the good days. I get emotional. Her kindness is not a moment, it's a pattern. Her positivity is not an act, it's her character. Our campus is better because she is here. Our students are better because she is here, and we are better because she is here. Please join me in recognizing Miss Marcy Price and appreciating and celebrating a counselor who is not only exceptional at what she does, but exceptional at who she is. Thank you for your heart, your energy, and your unwavering commitment to our school. We are grateful for you today and every day.
Way to go, sunshine. Thank you.
Next, we have Pearsall Intermediate, and I would like to call up Campus Principal, Miss Gina Baker.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, I would like to recognize our student of the month, Miss Kaylee Contreras. Kaylee is a model student. She consistently puts forth strong effort and is always prepared for class. Kaylee is always respectful and kind and helps others around her when they need it. In addition to excelling in her regular classes, she's actively participating in 2 UIL academic events, spelling and oral reading. Kaylee truly embodies our vision at Pearsall Intermediate, always striving for excellence. Please help me congratulate Kaylee. Next, I'd like to recognize our Employee of the Month for November. For the month of November, we are proud to recognize Miss Samantha Parsons as our employee. Ms. Parsons is new to our campus this year as an assistant principal, and as we all know, change can be difficult and a little scary, but Ms. Parsons has definitely taken this position head on with exceptional leadership, care, and commitment to our campus. She has taken the lead in ensuring the needs of all our students are met, from handling behavior to the special education needs quickly and efficiently. When I follow up with her to say something like, "We need to remember to do this," she's like, "Oh, I already done that." Needless to say, I can honestly say I think I've met my match of always being everywhere on the campus. So we are extremely grateful to have Miss Parsons at Pearsall Intermediate. So help me recognize Miss Parsons.
Next, we have Pearsall Junior High Campus Principal, Miss Tiffany Talamantes, to recognize her Employee of the Month.
Good evening, board. Good evening, everybody. This month, we are proud to celebrate Mr. Dale Gonzalez as our Teacher of the Month. Mr. Gonzalez has gone above and beyond to help our students build confidence, curiosity, and a genuine love for mathematics. He is constantly finding new ways to make complex concepts feel simple and always puts students first. Mr. Gonzalez's classroom. In Mr. Gonzalez's classroom, you will find students collaborating, asking questions, and discovering their own strengths. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for your dedication and passion. Our school's definitely a better place because of everything you bring to our students every day. Once a Maverick, always a Maverick.
Next up, I would like to call Pearsall High School Principal, Ms. Melissa Bass, to award her Student and Staff Member of the Month.
Alrighty, alrighty. Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Spoor. This evening for Pearsall High School, we are proud to recognize our Student of the Month for November as Paola Zazoya Segovia. I did not see her, so I'm not sure if she snuck in. Paola consistently demonstrates true ownership of her education. She is attentive in class, absorbs information thoroughly, and approaches her learning with dedication and focus. Her classwork is always exceptional, detailed, and reflects her commitment to achieving excellence. Paola's superior self-discipline allows her to attain optimal results, and she consistently sets the high standard through her respectful and positive attitude. Her demeanor not only enriches her own learning environment, but also uplifts those around her, creating a classroom culture of excellence and respect. Congratulations, Paola, on this well-deserved recognition. Now on to our November Employee of the Month. We are thrilled to recognize Janet Baez, our Principal Secretary at Pearsall High School, as our Employee of the Month for November. Janet is new to her role this year, yet she has already made a huge impact on the front office. She assists with scheduling, budget needs, and the overall day-to-day running of the office and campus. I'm extremely thankful to have her support, as it allows me to do my job more effectively every day. Janet is proactive, organized, and is always thinking ahead. She ensures I am where I need to be and keeps things running smoothly. And on top of that, she brings joy and laughter to the office, often joking about, what would Bass do or what would Bass think? Her humor and positivity make every day brighter. I could not do what I do and without Janet's dedication and support. Pearsall High School is lucky to have her, and it's with heartfelt appreciation that we honor her as our Employee of the Month. Congratulations to Janet Baez. And Janet is unable to be with us this evening as she is babysitting her new granddaughter.
Last but certainly not least, we would like to recognize the District Employee of the Month for the month of November. The District Employee of the Month is a very vital part of the district operations, serving as the district nurse, and has coordinated a lot of health and safety efforts alongside the campus administration for several years. This employee has established herself as, again, a very integral and dedicated staff member, and we would definitely like to recognize our District Employee of the Month, Ms. Monica Villarreal. see if she made it in, but if not, I can make sure we get it to her.
Up next, we have something special to give away that we get to do every 6 weeks. As you know, our district goal for attendance is 96%. We know that students coming to school every day is the best way for them to learn. And it also, you know, it's huge for us to recognize a campus that has once again risen to the top, almost hit 96%. Intermediate, you got really, really close this time, but once again, our 6 weeks attendance winner is Pearsall Junior High. All right, guys, we look forward to seeing everybody in school tomorrow, right? I see you, doggies.
Up next, we're going to present our PGH Students of the Month. My Students of the Month is the 8th grade football team and our cross-country medalists. So if y'all can try to fit it here, I'd like all to.
All come.
Y'all get down. Some of y'all get on your knees. Guys. Scoot back.
Order. Y'all scoot back a little bit. Thank you. Y'all scoot back. Scoot back.
Right there. There you go.
Scoot back.
There you go. Awesome.
Congratulations, guys. Now, doggy, let him go. You can go. That's it.
There you go. Shake.
All those guys. All of them. All them. Congratulations.
I guess you want me to read that? Okay. So, boys and girls, I'm going to give you your certificates tomorrow, but I want to read what the district said about you guys. Okay. In recognition of your outstanding achievement in Pearsall Junior High cross country and excellence as a Dogie athlete, your determination, endurance, and commitment to excellence exemplifies what it means to be a maverick. The superintendent and board of trustees proudly commend your accomplishments and the pride you bring to Pearsall ISD. Now this is for football. In recognition of your outstanding achievement of district champions back-to-back, and excellence as a PGH Dogie football athlete, your teamwork and dedication have brought pride and recognition to Pearsall ISD. The superintendent and board of trustees proudly honor your achievement and celebrate your contribution to the success of your team and our district. We'll get these tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, our next set of individuals to recognize here this evening is our athletic coaching staff. So in celebration of Athletic Coaches Appreciation Day, and in recognition of your passion for coaching, focus on teamwork and dedication to excellence, help our athletes grow in skill, character, and confidence. The Superintendent and Board of Trustees extend their heartfelt appreciation for the lasting impact you make on our students and athletic programs each and every day. We do have any coaches that have still been able to attend over here. I would like to call up all of our Pearsall ISD coaches up to be recognized. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
You got it? You got the mayor?
You're here, you know, get after it.
They alphabetical now?
I think that they're all there.
Put that sauce. Get out of the way. I'm gonna take a picture. Ray Martinez is there. Coach Campos. Jessica's not here. Coach Olvera. Coach Sparta. Coach Alonso. Coach Desmond not here. Coach Ramirez not here. Coach Hernandez. Coach Martinez. Coach Vinny. So I'll take those with me. Got it? Yeah. You be able to? We slide in here with them.
Get in there, coach. Get in there.
That's it. Coach Anderson. I know, my bad, coach. Let me see. It might not be on me. Oh, there it is. My bad, coach.
We have a couple of high school groups to recognize as well this evening. We'll begin with our, want to go ahead and begin with our cross-country folks. So if our cross-country coaches can come up.
Okay, so we're here to honor Angelina Montes and Andrew Perata.
You gonna say anything on Angelina right now? Okay.
to say that I'm really proud of these two. They both made it to regionals. Alex fell a little short at the regional meet, but he assured me that next year he'll be going to state. He's been putting in hard work. And Angelina this year, we got out of regionals. We made it to state, and she had a strong showing at state. We finished at the top percent of the runners. There were 152 of the league.
152, she got 52nd. Congrats, guys.
We have another group of high school students who showed extremely well in their competition this year. If we can have Mr. Pettis come up to recognize our band.
Is this where everyone's been presenting here? Okay. Well, we have a few of the band members are here in attendance, and I do want to say that you guys, you've already heard from me. I'm very proud of you guys throughout the entire year. It's been about 4 years, since 21, since we've advanced to the area finals. 21, we made it, didn't advance, unfortunately, but 22, 23, and 24 came around. We were just, as our band numbers dwindled down to whatever they were, we still remained, right there in the middle of the pack with everybody else. And these guys, I told them at the beginning of the school year, tired of it. And you guys should be too. And we need to just go for it, because I know that they had the talent, and it was just a matter of them to turn it on. I was like, yes, we got it. And then somewhere along the way, they saw it and they did it. So we ended up 9th in prelims, and with some really good comments, and the kids just kept climbing. So we ended up at finals. We finished 6th place. So that was awesome. Seventh place. 7th place. We missed the advancing to the state marching contest by 2 spots. We were neck and neck with our previous contest nemesis, I should say, which was, the usual suspects were Port Isabel and Gruya. We were neck and neck with them 2 weeks prior at the Robstown contest, and that was awesome to see them just come out on top of those guys. So yeah, and I'm excited for next year, because it's a young group. A lot of these guys are going to come back, and we should be adding more. Our band numbers should be getting healthier every single year. So I'm excited for what the future holds for you guys. I have a few certificates to pass out to you. Whoever's here, you guys want to stand up real quick so I can find your name? Hey, you guys want to help me out real quick? Find whoever's there. Okay, Scarlett, Lotus. Oh, okay.
But if you want to read what
Okay. So all of you guys will receive a certificate. We'll take a quick picture as we continue the festivities. So this reads Pearsall Independent School District Certificate for Superior Performance. This certificate is proudly presented on this 19th day of November 2025 to your name, in recognition of your contribution to the Mighty Maverick Band, outstanding achievements, including earning a superior rating at the UIL Region 11 marching contest, and securing an impressive 7th place in the Area E finals. Your dedication to musical and marching excellence played an important role in this successful season. The Superintendent and Board of Trustees are proudly honor your accomplishments and the joy you bring to Pearsall ISD. Yes.
We gotta get Mr. Bennett.
I just want the logo and Mr. Z.
I haven't even done it here, man.
These guys, sorry. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Nene, go home.
Can I honor my district champ?
Yeah.
Dad asked.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to personally recognize our junior high cross country district champion. She got first out of the entire meet. So Miss McKenna, will you come up? Student athlete who maintains very high grades, very positive attitude, is coachable, and never missed a practice. So she came home district champ.
Congratulations.
Way to go, Mama.
All right, now that we're through with recognitions, we'll move on to item 5, public comment. The board will now hear comments from those persons who have signed up to speak pursuant to board policy VI.D local at regular board meetings. The board has allotted for public comment regardless of whether the topic is on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Individuals who participate during this portion of the meeting designated for public comment must sign up before the meeting begins and shall indicate the agenda item or topic they wish to address the board. An individual's comments to the board shall not exceed more than 3 minutes per meeting. Participants may not relinquish their time to another speaker. During the public comment portion of the meeting, the board will listen, but it will not engage in dialogue or debate with the speakers. The board has adopted specific complaint policies and specific procedures for presenting complaints. If the proceeding officer determines that the presentation during this portion of the meeting is a complaint, he or she will respectfully ask that the person stop speaking and use the board's adopted policies and procedures to have the matter heard through the appropriate channels. The board expects all members of the audience to behave in a polite and orderly fashion during this and all other portions of the meeting. Speakers who use profane, obscene, threatening, abusive language will be ruled out of order and asked to discontinue their comments. Disruptive conduct will not be tolerated. We have two community members that signed up for public comment. Mr. Reynaldo Trevino, you're up.
My comments.
My name is Reynaldo Trevino, city resident. I want to talk to you about the vocational program within PISD. I know that the ISD structure is rather set, meaning any changes require significant effort, and I realize that. We are structured by state and federal government policies that sometimes prevents us from doing what is best for the community, but that's the way it is. In terms of the vocational program, it would mean what I'm recommending is put a slight change to the curriculum, school curriculum. And in terms of the funding, again, it's federal, state, and local. And as you realize, most of the funding now is coming from the local taxpayer here in Pearsall. So this is what I propose. I propose a partnership similar to how you do your hospitals. But my partnership that I'm referring to is a construction partnership. And in your slides that you have in front of you, it's kind of small. I couldn't get it bigger. We're talking about things that matter to PISD. One of them is funding. I believe that the partnership could be externally funded, meaning minimal impact to the school district. We have a lot of experts within our area in various vocations, and we can pick whatever vocation we want depending on the experts we have. In terms of the school, what does it mean? Well, it means that we can create a work-study program for all our vocational kids that want to go into construction, meaning this is a good labor pool to do the following. And what do I propose? I propose that the students, in conjunction with other nonprofit organizations and the other stakeholders, which could include your vocational teacher, it would mean that we could really build new homes, or we could fix all the old homes for a profit, I think, for a profit that could be used to buy the materials and for providing scholarships for those wishing to pursue a vocational program. So I think that's very doable. It just requires an effort that says, from the school board, we're willing to do that. If you're willing to do that, Mr. President, I'm welcome to talk about it further. If you feel that it needs a committee work, we can go to committee and come up with a recommendation so that the board can take action on what it would actually take in terms of, the painful thing of, changes. And I think that's what hurts the community. Sometimes we're afraid to make those changes because they're so hard to do. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
All right. Now we have Dion Santos.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Dion Santos, and recently I had the pleasure of interviewing for the open math teacher and volleyball coach position. It was wonderful to be able to meet with your principal, your athletic director, your vice principal, and the instructional coach. I think it went so well that Ms. Bass ended up moving my paperwork towards HR. Now, of course, HR denied that request because, of course, they found a slight blemish on my record. And the reason I come before y'all today is for the opportunity to kindly request that this board overlook that policy in order to hire someone that is ready, willing, and able to serve. Now, I've provided here for each one of you to peruse, so I don't have to spend my time. If I may do it, can I pass it out, or do you need to pass it? I provide some information on myself, on what I've been able to do. I will say that I currently work in another school district. I am a math teacher and a volleyball coach, and again, have been so for many, many years, both before and after my self-defense incident. Now, other school districts have seen my value and have been able to overlook that. Not only my current school district, but also previous charter schools in which I've worked, as well as during my forced hiatus, those employers. And so what I'm asking is that I get the opportunity to work with your students, work with your athletes. I think that what I bring is definitely worth dispensing with a policy because I think that your judgment can overrule a policy that might be for others. But when you get the opportunity to see what you have before you, I would appreciate the chance to serve within the district. Of course, part of what you see in your packet, you see my qualifications, my current certifications, all my accolades within the sport of volleyball. I didn't mention anything I did with band and my military service, but I do believe I have much to offer this entire school district and community. Thank you.
Moving on to item 4, presentations, board report.
Good evening. Up first, we will have our athletic director, Coach De Leon, to come give us a report on our fall sports.
So we're good? All right. So tonight I'm going to go over the fall recap for all our fall sports. As y'all know, we're moving into our winter sports. We've actually started here about 2 weeks ago with our basketball program, rocking and rolling. So fall recap, and a lot of these people tonight were brought up in front of you guys and acknowledged. As you know, our 8th graders went 8-0, second time that they go 8-0, so a total of 16-0 at the junior high. For us, back-to-back district champions. We're excited for that group. It is a really good group coming up for us. Angelina Montes placed 52nd at state with a running time of 12:22. She did a tremendous job for us. She's a junior, so she'll be back next year for us. And then Alex Peralta was also a regional qualifier for us, and hopefully next year he can get over the hump and get to state for us. Our boys football team, 4th straight year making the playoffs, as well to kind of recap last week with the football season. Okay. Moving into our winter sports, our Dogie baseball and softball teams are getting after it. Our boys this past week, they went 3-0 and won out in Somerset in a preseason tournament. Bats were hot. They scored a lot of runs over the weekend. Our Dogie, our softball team, they're currently going through a little struggle, but to my understanding, they're turning the corner around a little bit. So they did a great job competing the other night against Somerset. So they're doing a tremendous job as well of developing and doing what they have to do for them before they get to the high school level. Our basketball programs, our boys, if you were at the game last night, they look tremendous. That was their home opener. They're actually 2-0 on the year. Our varsity team, our JV team is also 2-0 on the year, so it's been a great start for the basketball programs on the boys' side. Our girls last night, 1-0 biter, 19-20 at Natalia. They're also 2-0. Good start for them as well. And then our JV girls are also 1-0. So it's been a good start for our basketball programs to start this early season, okay? Soccer is going to get rocking and rolling when we get back from Thanksgiving break. They have tryouts on that Monday for the boys and the girls. We had a great turnout at the meeting on Monday, so it really looks like we're going to be able to actually have a boys team this year, so I'm excited about that. So it's a good start for us and where we're at. Upcoming events, as y'all know, I'll rewind. Dogie Baseball tomorrow is here at home against Carrizo at 5 o'clock. And as y'all know, our Maverick Classic kicks off tomorrow. We'll be using three gyms, two venues. So we'll be playing at the junior high pretty much all day, Thursday, Friday, and then we're playing basketball all day at the high school in both gyms. Game times are there for the Lady Mavericks. Tomorrow they go at 5:30 and they go at 8:15. So if you got nothing going on at 8 o'clock, come on out. You can actually watch the 5:30 game, the 7 o'clock boys game, and the 8:15 game tomorrow on Thursday if you want to come out and watch some basketball. Then the times are there for the boys, okay? Then for down here at the bottom on Thursday, like I said, 1 o'clock Rockport, and then 7 o'clock South Side, the boys. We don't know what time they'll play Friday because it'll be TBA, depending on how they do in pool play from that regard. Any questions? And then I couldn't, when I did put this together, we were still in the playoffs, so I couldn't put any of the accolades that our football players received. That would have been nice to share some of those things. I'm not going to lie. We had over 12 kids academic all district, so that was exciting. We had one young man, I could say it now because nobody's in the playoffs anymore in our district. Abel Elizondo was all utility for us in the whole district, so that's a superlative. So that was major props for him, number 3 for us. And then we had a couple of other young men that actually were first teamers on offense and defense. Jared Leal was one of them. So they had tremendous years this past year for some of our seniors and from that regard. So yeah, any questions? All right.
I wanted to compliment on the tag teaming you and Ms. Bass are doing with the tutorials and all that stuff. I think y'all had a great passing, right? The students passing.
We did good. I was mad at some young men, I'm not gonna lie. There was some young men that failed, that shouldn't have failed, but they were procrastinators, and that's on them. So they need to learn their lesson here moving forward for the next 6 weeks. So yes.
But I'm comparing on from previous years that now the system y'all are building together is actually having more students passing and staying. And it's showing.
Appreciate that.
Like that.
Any other questions?
No further questions. Thank you, sir.
All right,
Congrats.
thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Moving on to item 6B, early childhood literacy and numeracy.
As you know, Board, we have adopted goals specific to the pre-STAR tested grades. Our pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, first and second grades now have district goals, and because we have not presented this information before, we wanted to start out this year with giving you a historical set of information because those students take different tests, and they're not tests that we always talk about. So we have our principal, Ms. Cordelia Gonzalez, and her instructional coach, Mr. Beltran, going to talk to us a little bit about their numbers from a historical perspective.
Good evening, Board, once again. Tonight I'm sharing our historical performance report for Ted Phillips Elementary. This presentation highlights where we've been and where we are now. I'd also like to explain some of our testing and what we look at. Okay. So for pre-kindergarten, we're going to start there. The state requires progress monitoring in 5 early childhood domains. So Pearsall ISD uses the Circle Progress Monitoring System. We administer a beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year to track foundational skills. This system gives us research-based data to ensure that our learners are meeting the developmental benchmarks in literacy, numeracy, and wellness. The consistency of this assessment allows us to identify early gaps and intervene early. We know that the earlier we can intervene, the better it is for our students. For kindergarten assessments, TEA requires a beginning of year reading instrument to assess foundational literacy. Ted Flores administers the Circle assessments for beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year. This ensures that we have trend data that most campuses statewide do not yet have. These expanded measures directly support stronger kinder readiness outcomes. For our first and second grade measures, we're required to, as a district, to use an improved reading instrument. The one that we use is TPRI, which provides real-time insight into phonemic awareness, graphonemic awareness, knowledge, accuracy, fluency, and comprehension, which are basically the 5 components of reading. TPRI is administered at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of year to give us a true growth picture. And you will see how that continues to, how that progress is going further on in the presentation. Curriculum that we use, curriculum that we are currently using to also assess our measures for literacy, we have 95% phonics. This is used in K through 2nd, and it also has beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year measures, as well as unit measures in between. So there's about 5 of those for each grade level. For numeracy, we have parallelized math for K1, and we have Sharon Wells math for K2. Now, both of these curriculums are aligned. Parallelized math was kind of a splinter off of Sharon Wells. They worked together. They developed a curriculum for K1 to meet the needs of those students. Sharon Wells is 2nd through 5th, and it supports, Parallelized will support our students into Sharon Wells math. If you look here, we have our historical data. So we measure in waves. We have wave 1, 2, and 3, much like the BOY, MOY, EOY. So as you can see, here's our pre-K circle historical performance. All of those performances from 2022-23 school year are at the wave 3, so this is how we ended. I want to point out wave 1 for 25-26 began at 58%, so that's a good starting point for us this year. For kinder, we have KPM, which is part of Circle, and as you can see, from 22-23, we have wave 3 all the way up. So wave 3 for 24-25 ended at 65%. Our wave 1 is at 49%, and of course, with everything embedded, we expect to see more growth. First grade historical data, as you can see, this is off of TPRI measures. That is the end of our EOY. This is where we started for our BOY at 32%. Again, we take that and we also look at 95% data, and we're starting to see a trend. We're trying to identify those trends, having those data meetings. Second grade TPRI, as you can see, starting at 22-23, we continue on into 24-25. Right now, our BOY started at 35%. Obviously, we're going to focus in on the skills that second grade needs to make sure that they are getting ready for third grade as well. We are confident with 95% that we will make growth. Do you have any questions? Oh, sorry, there's more slides. Kinder 95 phonics pearlized data. So if you can see these are side by side. For our beginning of year performance for Kinder 95%, we are at 47% for the first 6 weeks. And for pearlized, we have it at 21%. We will come back later and show you the growth in the data as soon as we get more information. First grade 95% phonics and math, as you can see, they started off in the first 6 weeks with 75% and with their beginning of year at 63%. For second grade 95 phonics and Sharon Wells, they started at 28%, and then for the first 6 weeks in math for Sharon Wells, they started off at 41%. Do we have any questions so far?
I just, on your presentation here, you talk about your objective for goal 1 and your goal 2 objectives, and your numeracy number is to be at 90% by 2029. I don't understand that. Can you elaborate what that means? What is that telling us as a board? It's it's a very deceiving number, okay? So I kind of want to see what you're trying to tell us what 2029 is, and I want to know what 2026 is going to be. Not 3 years from now. I want to know what where are the kids going to be at, and will they be at grade level in pre-K, at first grade, and at second grade, so they're ready to go to third grade. This doesn't tell me anything.
So fortunately for us, we have new curriculums. We have 95%, and we have our Pearlized and Sharon Wells math. In 22-23, we had something called Saxon Phonics.
I'm very familiar with.
Moving on from that, we didn't have it anymore. So we had HMH literacy. And so that's what our teachers have been using, the structured literacy piece from HMH, which as a reading interventionist, prior to this position or to administration, when I looked at it and I observed it and I watched our teachers implementing it, I knew that we needed more support. When Dr. Spoor came on and we talked about 95%, a curriculum that I've worked with, that she's worked with, and we know that the data behind that curriculum supports that students in our demographic can actually exceed and do well with that. And what we are expecting is to have substantial growth for each student, and our goal is that when students leave us, they are on level, by grade level, whether they are pre-K, like pre-K has Talk to Learn, which is another offset of 95%. So all of those pieces that I have seen work with demographics such as ours are in place. So the support that we are getting currently as well from 95%, we also have our consultant, Amy Deckard, who comes in with our instructional coach and does those cycles with them. So every teacher gets feedback continuously. And that started in September? Yeah, about August, September in there. So we have that support. So by 25, 26, while I don't know exactly what that number is going to look like, I do know it's going to look much, much different and in an upward trend than where we have been before. So, you know, we're doing everything we can to support the teachers with these curriculums, to support our students with these curriculums. I think so far with preliminary data that we have been seeing by 6 weeks, we know that good things are happening. And we want to continue that growth by continuing to support our teachers as well as our students. So we're in classrooms constantly. This year looks very different than years past. And while it's difficult and it's been challenging, I think we're gonna reap the rewards of it by the end of this year.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
I do have one question. You know, just looking at other data that we've seen, and I think it's, the most important thing is to point out that I really believe that the teachers and staff are working very diligently towards the academic growth that, you know, that's our primary initiative. So when I look at your data, I want to know, is your data based on grade level to grade level, or is it student to student?
I may. What we're presenting tonight is not going to be the growth measure of a cohort. So when we talk about a cohort, that's where we're going to get our improvement in state accountability, will be the growth measure, which measures cohort to cohort. But what we've not brought to the board before was how we've been doing in the non-STAR tested grade levels. So that's what we wanted to give you. If you guys will go back to your second grade historical data slide, what we want to show you is where they were ending up every year, and it seemed to be back one more, there you go. Every year we were at maybe half the kids where they needed to be considered grade level when we got to the end of the year. And so what we were testing was beginning, middle, end. We have to test more frequently than that to make sure that we're on track, because again, if we keep doing everything we've done for the last 3 years, we're not going to get anything different. So what we've got now is we've got a baseline of historical. Here's where we were on achievement. And now what we've got is I don't have enough to really give you a whole lot of growth, but we will in January. That's when we're going to start bringing in growth, and it's going to be these kids, how they did at the beginning of the year and now the middle of the year, and we should see some growth. And same thing for the STAR tested grade levels. At the middle of the year, we're going to be able to bring you, here's how these kiddos did as 6th graders, now here's how they're doing as 7th graders. Here's how they did at the beginning of the year, 7th grade, how they did at the middle of the year, 7th grade. So we're still a little bit early to give some great growth data, because the data here is at the second 6 weeks. So that's still a little early. We'd like to look at the middle of the year to really be able to say if we're on track for growth. Right now it's trending positive, but we wanted to set historical background looking at the last 3 years. So our goal is for every kid to have a year's worth of growth when they're in with that teacher. So we needed to know where they started and where they move up. We know that our 2nd grade, we've got to do more than a year if we want to get them on grade level to go into 3rd grade. So there's a lot of push on the 1st and 2nd grade right now as well.
And to also to settle any worries as well, just to understand where the teachers are coming from and what they've been taught and trained right now, is the conversations are changing and they're being more targeted and specific. So when I say that, we talk about not just students who are down at where maybe they're not meeting standard. We're also talking about the students who have met and exceeded standards and making sure that we're keeping them there. So we've brought that awareness to our teachers so that they now recognize, and they're keeping track now. After they saw it, now they want to keep track of it. They want to make sure that we hold our students who are doing well and stay there. We don't want any droppers. And 2nd grade has adopted that model of no droppers. In other words, we want to keep the kids that have exceeded and are doing well where they are and push them, and then continue to make sure that those that can grow continue to grow. So they're using a template right now to monitor that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and shout out to Mr. Beltran, who has done so much for us. I can honestly tell you that I would be lost without him. So that's why I brought him up here. Thank you.
Moving on to item 6C, Goal 1, Student Performance and Growth.
So we have our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Adam Martinez, and our principals here will be able to answer any specific campus questions to talk about our student academic achievement in the STAR EOC grade levels and courses.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Spohr, and members in the audience. As Dr. Spohr mentioned here, I will be presenting information and giving you a little bit of an update in terms of how our students have progressed through this academic school year. Important to note, as we are going through this information, we are comparing how the students performed last year previously on the State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness, or STAR test assessment at the end of the year. And we're basing it on the second 6 weeks assessments that we've administered here at the campus level. So we're going to go ahead and begin. We will start with the elementary level and progress all the way to the high school level. Please bear with me. There will be a lot of information, and we will allot an opportunity for any questions that may be that come up here throughout this presentation. So what you're seeing here, again, as I mentioned, we're going to begin with third grade, and so we have here the slides for third grade reading and math. So I want to make sure, as we are going to be presenting all of these slides, they are consistent in regards to what you will be seeing in the looks and the optics. So as we are having here, we do have the measures of students that did not meet the standard. We have the students that are at approaches level or higher, the meets and higher level, and masters. So just for context and just as a reminder, when it comes down to all of these levels, did not meet exactly means that they did not meet the standard set by the state. Approaches is they did meet the passing mark at the state level, but again, it's almost equivalent to having a C on a report card. Meets is the equivalent of having a B on a report card, and masters would be the equivalent of having an A on a report card. So just for context as we're going through. As we can tell in third grade, we have currently for this year, based off our second 6 weeks assessments, we still have 37% of our students performing unsatisfactory. We have increased slightly in our approaches level at 63%, and again, we have seen a big increase in our meets level at 52%, and also at our master's level at 19% as comparison to last year at the end of the year for the STAR assessment. In math, we do have still currently 56% of our students not meeting standards, so again, a little over half of our students. At the approaches level, 44%, 20% are meeting, and about 6%, just a couple of percentage points better than what we had last year in third grade. In fourth grade, we do have, again, another 41% of our students that are not meeting standard. We do have about 59% of our students at the approaches level, 44% of our students meeting at the meets level, and 11% masters. Our math is performing again. Almost half of our students, again, are still currently not meeting standard at 48%. We do have 58% of our students at the approaches level, 23% at the meets, and 6% at the master's level. As we progress to fifth grade, we do have in reading, currently on our second 6 weeks assessment, we only have 21% of our students not meeting the standard. We have a whopping 79% of our students at the approaches level, 66% at the meets level, and 41% at the master's level. In fifth grade math, we do have, again, work to do there. 46% of our students are performing unsatisfactory, and 54% are performing at the approaches level, with 25% at the meets and 5% at the master's level. For fifth grade science, we do have, again, almost half of our students not meeting standard, with 51% at the approaches level and 29% at the meets level and 8% at the master's level. Going into the junior high grade levels, we do have at sixth grade for reading, again, about 40% of our students are unsatisfactorily meeting the standards, and about 59% are at the approaches level, with 35% at the meets level and 20% at the master's level. In the area of math, we do have currently with our sixth graders, 33% not meeting standard, 67% are at the approaches level, with 36% at the meets and 11% at the master's level. For seventh grade for reading, we do have currently 35% of our students not meeting standard, 65% at the approaches level, 57% at the meets level, and 39% at the master's level. And interesting to note again, we do want to focus on growth, and we do want to also have where we are getting our students to the meets and master's level. So this is a reflection of where we would like to see our trend. Dr. Spoor has very, very clearly articulated our expectations long-term for 80% at the approaches level, 60% at the meets level, and 30% at the master's level. And so as you go into seventh grade math, you see very closely to those numbers. So only 20% of our students are not meeting standard, 80% are approaching, 68% are meeting, and 48% are at the master's level. In eighth grade reading and math, we do have 69%, almost 70% of our students currently not meeting expectations in the grade level. 31% of them are at the approaches level, with 8 and no percentage of students at the master's level. For eighth grade math, only 5% of our students are currently not meeting expectations. 95% are at the approaches level, 86% are at the meets level, and 59% are currently performing at the master's level in eighth grade math. For eighth grade science and social studies, 39% are not meeting standards, 61% are at the approaches level, 46% at the meets, and 22% at the master's level. For eighth grade social studies, only 14% of our students are not meeting standard, 86% of our students are currently at the approaches level, 71% at the meets, and 50% at the master's level. Going into the high school, we have for our English end of course exams, for English 1 end of course exam, currently only 19% of our students are not meeting academic performance standards, 79% are at the approaches level, 53% at the meets level, and 9% at the master's level. For our English 2 end of course exam, 29% are currently not meeting standard, 71 at the approaches, 54 at the meets, and 1% at the master's level. For our Algebra 1 end of course at the high school, only 6% of our students currently are not meeting standard, 94% at the approaches level, 77% at the meets level, and 54% at the master's level performance. For high school biology end of course exam, currently 10% of our students are not meeting standard, 90% are at the approaches and higher level, 57% at meets, and 27% at the master's level. For U.S. history end of course exam at the high school, we have 7% currently not meeting standard, 93% are at the approaches level, 78% at the meets level, and 50% of our students are at the master's level. As we are again closing out this presentation, it is of note that the big push here for us in the district is to focus on student growth. We are wanting to have our students really grow from where they're at. We do recognize that a lot of our statistics that we've had for our prior student performance have a high number of students not meeting standard. We do want to focus on having our students improve and show growth. The push is that we have our students do at least one question or more better than they did last year on their end of course or their state assessments at the end of the year. And we really are focusing a lot of our effort and energy on growth. I know that you have heard, and we are very fortunate that you as a board have approved new curriculum pieces that we are very closely monitoring with our campus administrators, our consultants, and being able to track data. We did want to come to the board here and do this presentation to give you an update. And at this point, if you have any questions that I might be able to answer for you, or if any of our administrators on the campus might be able to answer, I will open that for questions at this time.
Anyone have any questions?
Well, I do want to ask if the campus principals want to help out with this. As the data was gathered, so the assessments that were administered to our students, was that something that our consultants created and therefore administered them to our students? Or was it teacher created?
So it'll depend on the content. So the math, those are created for them. And you can tell in a couple of grade levels, we've had some tremendous growth. That's where a whole lot of our focus has been. And on the reading has been more focused on the elementary. But again, part of it is, you know, being a stellar teacher and being a stellar test writer are not always the same thing. So we want to make sure that the tests are at the level of rigor we need them to be if we're going to pull them up here for a comparison. So this is not the same as a a general assessment that a teacher might give on a formative basis. So these are more the 6 weeks one. And again, at the semester, we'll be giving more, what we said, 3-hour test for the high school, 3-hour test, star-based, covering just what we have covered in the curriculum. And then we'll really feel like we've got something to measure how they're doing on this. But that was our concern, was we don't want to come up and give a false positive, because we had a couple of them that were super high. And so we all went back and looked at that and said, is this a false positive? And looking at the student performance log, that was pretty standard. So we should be able to expect that. And we know that the students are able to do that. It's a matter of every grade should be able to do this then. So we're really targeting more which teachers need some more support to change the practice to get this happening.
And to answer your question on who creates the test, the teachers don't create the test, the instructional coach does,
Right.
based on what is being taught for that 6 weeks.
And I still believe that regardless of whatever instrumental tool that is being, our teachers are using, I still believe that it's basically our teachers' work that really, really brings out the best in our results, in our students. And so, if this is where we're headed, I think that there's, more to come. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that is something that we've seen a remarkable change in at the high school, and I'm sure at the other campuses as well. Sorry. I'm glad you brought that up. That is something that we're seeing at the high school, is our teachers are committed. We do have the buy-in, but having these extra curriculum pieces, well, for us at the high school, it's basically just Algebra 1 that we received. Everything else, it's what we're building from the ground up. This is our 3rd year, and so we've put some practices in place, setting that tone high with that 80, 60, 30, and our goal is to be a B campus at the end of this year. That is talked about, that is shared about at every PLC, and so it's like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing different? What is the data telling us? And us being reflective in our own practices, as far as, what do I need to change as a teacher? That focus with the teachers is, what are we doing and how is it affecting the students? And so our teachers are committed, and with all of these, they are 6 weeks assessments, so it was taught within that 6 weeks. So of course that's the short-term memory, right? The star EOC, in blue, that's the long-term memory. That's going to be what was taught all year. So we want these numbers to be high on that short-term memory. Now, the one that I will refer back to is our Algebra 1, because that curriculum and those assessments it's already training the long-term memory. The way that resource and program is written is every day the lesson starts with a spiral, and it's a lengthy spiral. It's not a warm-up question. It's not a warm-up 2 questions, 3 questions. It's 9 questions, and so that's building the long-term memory. And those 9 questions aren't what they're struggling with or anything. It is, let's drill it in there. Let's not forget what has been taught. And so the Algebra 1 right now are going to be most reflective of where we are right now. Now, the other thing I want to point out is high school, this is the first year. This is not the first time that I've talked to you about this. All of our retesters, which their data is included in here too, because they take those assessments also, are in an intervention class. If they failed last year, we have them in an intervention class. And so that is contributing to the growth that we're seeing with them, because our teachers are really able to focus instead of, I have X, Y, and Z students in my class that are retesters, everybody is not, and having them struggle within a regular class period. Okay, let me give them something differentiated. We did that for them. And so that has made it easier for them to hit the ground running and take it a step further.
Well, thank you for all the detail. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Question?
I'm curious to know what we're doing for 3rd and 4th grade reading now.
Hi, Ms. Baker.
Okay, so for third and fourth grade reading and math, we also just changed our master schedule to have a dedicated intervention time specifically for that. And on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's all students doing math at that time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's reading at that time, all teachers. And then on Fridays, they are taking a STAR release passage, which has a reading story based on science or social studies. They're going and they're using this whole strategy called Unwrap, where they actually go and they analyze the passage. And every Friday they're going to take, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're working on one passage. On Friday, they take a different one having to do with that. And then they can see what, how they have improved throughout the week on that. Also, in addition to analyzing the data, we're looking deeper at the data. Our goal is no students drop. So going down to each individual teacher, you're pulling your data, you're looking at all the kids, all the TEKs, anything below 75%, you're going, and what are you gonna do to fix this, and how are you gonna reteach? Also the Sharon Wells, it does have the spiral. Every day for math, they have basic skills and problem solving and the concept itself. So it is spiraling every day when they do those lessons. And then we are going to take a semester exam for reading and math to see where they're at based on what has already been taught. So they're working hard. Any other questions?
I will share that one of the concerns that we have is, you know, the kids leave second grade at one campus and they go to third grade at another. So you have that transition that, you know, is usually only happens like fifth grade to sixth grade and eighth grade to ninth grade. So we have that piece going on. And then when you look at last year at the second grade where they finished the TFE, TPRI historical performance second grade, they're at 52% at the end of the year. And so for them to have been at 52% at the end of the year, and now we're at 63% at the beginning of the year, when last year's kids at the end of the year finished at 63. So we know that we've played a bit of a catch up. And so now there's an awful lot of emphasis and focus. And like she said, we went through and said, oh, they need a little more time. You know, they have quite a bit of time for literacy and numeracy, but we're finding where can we find some more time in the schedule to give them that looping back through, so that our goal is for them to leave third grade on grade level. So there is an awful lot of emphasis at third grade, at all three grades on that campus, but third grade for sure.
Do we have anything after school tutorials on?
So
on
they'll be
just
starting
that?
when we return from the break. Yes, there will
Okay.
be tutorials, and they'll be invited. All students will be invited, but we're going to specifically target those ones that did not pass the STAR last year. And there's about 60 from fourth grade and about 60 from fifth grade. So that's like almost half that didn't pass at least one section. So they'll be come to tutorials.
And I'm not trying to use it as an excuse, but those two groups are their COVID kids. So, that's why those two grades concern me all the time.
Yeah.
So.
So.
Thank you.
Point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Awesome. Thank you, sir. Moving on to item 6D, presentation by Leroy San Miguel on facility status update.
Good evening. As you know, we have our favorite guy here, Mr. Leroy San Miguel, to talk all things facilities, and he does have a handout for the board as well of the slides that he'll be presenting tonight.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk a little bit about facilities. In the school district I used to work for, so to speak, they used to call me the facilities guy. So everybody knew the facilities guy. So, anyways, thank you again for allowing me this opportunity to share something with you. I apologize up front. This is going to be a little bit lengthy, but I promise I'll make it as fast as I possibly can. And it's really. Dr. Spohr and I had a conversation because there's just so many things going on at one time. She's a ball of fire, by the way, and she tells me, Leroy, how about this, how about this, how about that? And so we keep moving, and so that's what progress is all about. So the presentation that I'll be making today has about 4 or 5 parts to it. Departmental operational review, a track project, traffic at the high school, miscellaneous projects, and the soccer field. One of the things that we first started talking about when Dr. Spohr and I had our first conversation is, let's look at deep inside the operation of the organization. And I deal more in the custodial and in the maintenance and construction and engineering fields. And so I mentioned to her, I said, give me an opportunity to go and visit the schools, talk to the people, visit everything that you have out there. And it was during the summer, so during that time, the cleaning operations were going. So they were going gangbusters trying to clean the schools and get them ready for the next school. So I had that opportunity to do that. And so that helped tremendously to give me an opportunity to be able to see what's going on at the. So the operational review consisted of approximately 26 recommendations. The facility condition, I must say, they needed a little bit of improvement on the custodial side. There were areas that really needed some more attention based on my observations and understanding of the impacts that and there's reasons for it, and I'll share those with you as we go along. There was from the organizational standpoint, there was some definition of roles that needed to occur. And for that I mean is sometimes what is the definition between what a custodian does and the maintenance? And technically we should know that, but sometimes they're blur lines. Like who handles the bowls? Is it maintenance or is it custodian? So little things like that make life interesting for our staff out there at the campuses, or something that we would need to define the roles. And also, who do the custodians really report to? Is it the campus administrator or is it central office and things of that nature? So we started to getting at that to make sure that everything's running as smooth as possible. Staffing, I did a complete analysis of your staffing, and usually we use formulas in our business. And from that perspective, it's more of how much square foot do you have and how much can a custodian clean per square feet and so forth, so on. So I looked at all of that very carefully and found that there were a couple of positions that are lacking. You actually have, almost enough, literally. And so from that perspective, that's positive. But there's a couple of positions that I would recommend that we hire and rearrange the structure of the staffing at the schools. And I may go into a little bit of that here in a few minutes. There's inconsistencies in work schedules. Some custodians leave early, some later, and we all know that the cleaning gets done when the children are not there, obviously. So there needs to be a realignment of that. It's not much, it's maybe an hour to 2 hours, but it's something that I know we've been talking to the staff about. Dual task, that is something that, and I know that in small school districts, that what happens is you try to make use of your resources that you have. So we have one lead custodian that drives a bus. So she comes in the morning, as you can imagine, drives a bus, then comes back, tries to direct the activities at the campus. Then she has to go back and drive the bus again. It's really somewhat inefficient in my opinion. And that's something that we need to start thinking about, especially a lead custodian that is leading the activities of everything that happens on that campus. And I'm sure that campus administrators can tell you how that's critical, important position, because they make everything work at a campus. Training in various areas was needed, especially the mandatory type, and I'll share with you where we are with that as well. And then morale. Morale was good, but I want to say it's lacking, but it was okay. And that is that you have some great people out there. I had an opportunity to visit with literally all the custodians. I went to one campus, and they were buffing and cleaning and things of that nature, and they were very frank about what they believe, honestly, and the challenges that they have. And some of them I'll share with you what that is. And so identification is one of the things that popped up. I said, do you have a uniform? No, we just wear our own shirts and things of that nature. I said, what? Something we may want to talk about. Dr. Spohr and I had a lot of discussions about those kinds of things. And regular in-service meetings with the staff. You've got to be able to communicate, as you well know. You do it on campuses with teachers and things of that nature. Well, the staff is just as important, especially the custodians. They need to know what's going on, how they are appreciated, but also talk about the challenges they have. And I know those are happening. So here's a lack of equipment. This is a picture I took while I was walking this summer. What that is a vacuum cleaner with a lot of duct tape on the top. And I asked the gentleman that was using it, and I said, so how does this operate? He said, well, we just gotta make sure the duct tape is exactly where it needs to be, and then we'll make it everything work. So we're talking about outdated equipment that really needs to be replaced. This is your workhorse. This is a good one, and believe you me, I've seen these for the last 30 years. But now you have new equipment that could do it faster and easier and more efficient. And so each campus has one, possibly a campus may have two of those. So equipment, and then certain recommendations that were made. And by the way, that report, and I don't know if Dr. Spohr had a chance to, it's lengthy, and I apologize, but I wanted to dive deep and look at every piece of the operation to make sure that we cohesively can make things work in the long end, so to speak, for the long term. So training in various areas has been accomplished. One of the things that I told Dr. Spohr, I said, I want them to take them to another school district to go see how the operation works, so they can compare, they can talk to each other, they can ask questions and making connections. So I had an opportunity to take them to Northside ISD, where I came from, and met with the area supervisors, the trainers and things of that nature, and they actually saw the operation of how to strip and wax a floor and how they do it. So this is a picture of the staff. These are all your leads, plus a trainer and some people from Northside as well. It was well taken. I think it was very beneficial at the end of the day. The right to know, it's a mandatory thing. That's been done. It was done here this summer. By the way, I want to give a shout out. I don't know if he's here, Humby. He's a workhorse. That's all I can tell you. He is a very dedicated employee, and he showed me around. He took me out. He shared a lot of information with me. So, like I said, you have great employees in this district. And he did the training. And he also did the asbestos at HERA. This is a mandatory that every new employee to the district must have. And so it's being done. It was done as a totality with all the people in there, including maintenance. And as they come in, they get the training. Setting consistent schedules. I talked a little bit about that. Different times the custodians have been reporting. And so we're working on that, but that's in progress as we speak. Here's some more. We talked a little bit about morale, the work shirts, the custodians. They have been purchased, and they just got here Wednesday, I believe. 17. Yeah, and so it's one of those things that here's one of the shirts. We were trying to get a green, like a Pearsall green, but they don't make it. So we said, all right, let's go gray with the logos on it. So each custodian should have work shirts, so to speak, and I think that just gives them pride in everything that they do, and they're looking pretty sharp as well. I know there's been regular meetings. I think Adam had a meeting one time with the custodians and a couple of meetings already, custodian staff, and it's just administration talking to them about how important what they do. And I always tell the custodians, your job is one of the most important jobs, because if the facility doesn't look good, can you imagine what the parents are saying and how the kids feel about their school? Very important. That's being done. Equipment, well, guess what? We got some new equipment. Dr. Spohr says, let's go get them some new equipment, Leroy. That's what they need, and make it more efficient and life a little bit easier for them. So we've got about 3 of those already. These are the auto scrubbers. This is what a lot of school districts are using nowadays, and they're very efficient. Shop vacuums, remember that one? Well, I didn't get you a shop vac, but that's a regular vac. That's a new one, by the way. But they do have new shop vacs. No duct tape on those, by the way. Thank you. So maintenance highlights, there was another report that I put together, submitted to Dr. Spohr, and hopefully you had an opportunity to look at it. There were 33 recommendations. The facility's condition in general looks okay, but it needs improvement. There are areas that we really need to focus on, and we'll talk more about it as we go. Lack of equipment, the vehicles. One technician told me, he says, well, this truck has been in the shop I don't know how many times. It probably needs to be replaced, things of that nature. And I recognize that those are high expenditure items, but it makes life a little bit easier for your staff. Organizational development, I suggested that we look at how we can a developed specialist, you really need to have a plumber, an air conditioning guy, and an electrician. And you do have them, except we need to organize that to make sure that that's what they do day in and day out. Staffing on the I'm sorry? Instead of, yeah. Well, you'll see a little bit, it's more challenging in maintenance. So lacking positions, about 4.5 positions is what I looked at in terms of the values and the formulas that we use in the industry. But here's the thing, and Dr. Spohr just mentioned it to you, is seven of your existing positions drive buses or are bus monitors. So again, I would share with you that they go and they drive a bus, then they come and do maintenance, and then they have to go back out. So it's a little bit of an inefficiency, and I understand why. Sometimes these positions are difficult to obtain, but they're not doing justice to the maintenance of the facilities. The training is needed. There's the new shirts for the maintenance department. Like I said, they just got them here a couple of days ago. So now they have their name and things of that nature. Again, it's one of those things about providing that morale and showing them how professional they can look, and it's pride and it's identification too. You go to any campus and you can tell where a custodian is because of the shirts that they wear. And these times with security becomes vitally important. So the mandates, mentioned to you what we did on the custodial side. It was done on the maintenance side. And guess what? We're getting rid of surplus buses. Those are all at Black Gold right now. They finally got moved all these campuses, and I was talking to Chief in the back of his place over there. There was a bunch of buses. We took them all out, put them Black Gold, and we're making the process of trying to get them auctioned off. And I know the superintendent has, by board authorization, has the ability to classify them and then obviously get rid of them. And then shortly we can come back and let you know how that successful is. We've already contacted Lemons Auctioneers, which you have a contract with, and I think Humby is the point of contact who's going to make that all work. So he just got the information here a couple of days ago. Hot water systems, we had a little issue at the junior high about a month ago, I think, and didn't have hot water. And I talked to the technician out there, and poor guy, he's trying to, well, I gotta fix this, I fixed this, then something else, and then something. I said, sir, at the end of the day, just replace it, let's be done with it, let's get him a new equipment. And so that was done, I don't know, about 3-4 weeks ago. And because of the sanitation and the health, that needed to be in a higher priority. We're working on replacement of hot water tanks at the high school, and you have actually 2 of those. That's the one that's not working. You can tell the bottom of it is rusted. It is not repairable. So we did commission an engineer because that is a life safety health issue. So an engineer really needs to look at that and give us. So they're working on the plans. Let's put this out to bid. And actually, on the left-hand side, there's another one. Feeds another part of it. That's working. There's 2 of them, yeah. Yeah, there are actually 2. So we're gonna take alternate bids to see how much it costs to replace that one as well.
Yeah, and if we see that it's comfortable to do that one, we'll do both of them.
Yeah. Just, it makes sense. And you get economy of scale as well.
Sure.
So roof leaks at the junior high. I know I walked that campus and I saw all the roof leaks on that. And we commissioned a roofing consultant. You know, one of the tendencies has been that you just hire contractors and they go and they tell you what you think, they think that's a problem, and then you pay and so forth, so on. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. You need to look at the totality. And that's where your roofing specialists would come in. They did a water test. They found out where the leaks are. And I know that Dr. Spohr was sharing with me that we got a quote to replace the whole roof. Well, you don't need to replace the whole roof. Just need sections of it that need to be upgraded. There's the culprit right there that's leaking there. I think that's by the gym. And then you have that one that's been there forever, right? I think the principal is out here somewhere. Been there forever, literally. And so we're just gonna have to tear into it and start all over again because it's hard to even find where the leak is at. Again, consultant has helped us with determining what to do there. The track project, we moved pretty quickly. I know we were here in August to get approvals for the consultant and get direction. Superintendent did negotiate and approve a negotiated fee. Project's underway. MTR, who you saw the engineers came here before are working on the construction documents, try to get it out. And one of the things we did is we got everybody around the table, all the stakeholders. You can see that all the folks that are here, all the way from business and finance to the campus administration, head coach who was just here, and talk about schedules. When can we get on that field? When can we turn it over to the contractor? Engineers are telling us when they can finish the drawings and put it out for bid. So we're going to take over the field. The coach said it'd probably be safe in the latter part of April, and that gives us at least 3 months of construction, which is probably what we need to be able to get it done by August, obviously when you need the field. You do have a scoreboard, I know you know that. Huh? And so now that we're tearing up the top end of this, where the scoreboard is right now, we're going to replace it in the same. And we talked a little bit about that the last time because of the audio needs to blow, or the sound needs to be directed towards the campus and not the patrons, residents. And so this is a scoreboard that's been approved. It's actually in a warehouse right now. It's ready to be put up. So from that perspective, we'll be tearing up the field there. We're going to lay all the conduits and everything, conductors to fire that scoreboard up. So that's exciting. That should be up by August as well. It's been coordinated. Let's talk a little bit about the traffic at the high school. I know we've had several discussions on that. I know that I mentioned to you that we had met with a couple of board members. I think Ms. Benavides was at that meeting with TxDOT when they came in and shared with us their thoughts. But for TxDOT to do it, first and foremost, they need 4 lanes. I'll just kind of rehash this a little bit, which means that we got to relocate that monument sign, relocate the existing marquee, and everything that's connected to it, power, communications, and things like that. So that means we got to push it out of the way. And then there was a question of who owns that piece of property there, right there. Because we have to, if you have to move all these items, the monuments, the marquee, they're probably going to end up right here somewhere. Well, found out that we had gotten a survey from a surveyor who says district didn't own that property. Board member sent that over to us. I asked Ron, can you go to the courthouse and check it? And yes, the district does own that piece of property. So that's a good thing. We don't have to go in somebody else's property if the decision is to move all the items onto that piece of property, so to speak. So one of the things we talked about, and campus administration was there as well, along with several of us, is how do we improve the traffic there without having to put a signalization per se? So we talked about coming in through, I call it Maverick 1, the original Maverick. How do we loop? Well, now we have to go build roadways, drop-offs, and the kids being dropped off where you have to put another security gate, so to speak, to bring them in and so forth, so on, from a management perspective. Then we said, well, let's go back to the parking lot. I know there's some issues there with the neighbors about that high traffic through there. So we started looking at everything. Well, everything that we looked at that we thought would be an option is getting to be really big now, because you're going to have to redo parking lots, driveways, and things of that nature. So we said, wow, maybe we ought to look at a master plan for the entire campus and get even more focus on how many options we can really make work out there, and then how much is this going to cost. But at the beginning, while we were talking, in my mind I was going, parking lots. Gosh, that parking lot at the high school probably needs to be redone. That's going to cost us some money. Then we got to restripe it. And then we do another driveway on the opposite hand side of the campus. Well, how do you get kids get in? Now we got to build canopies for them and things of that nature. So as you can see, it get bigger and bigger and bigger. So from a master plan perspective, you know, we have, obviously you had some decisions to make, but at the end of the day, that we just wait it out and do a master plan and see what other options we have with a little bit more detail, or do we go forward with what would you have now, which I believe is you've hired a sheriff's department or somebody, law enforcement out there to be there to help with the traffic mitigation, or just do the TxDOT project. So those are the kinds of things. So I don't know, Dr. Spore, do you want to say anything more about that?
So we were looking at where we can come in and where we can go out if we wanted to continue to put a lot of traffic into the neighborhood on that side. And then, you know, if we change up the front, how far back do we go in? Do we go into where, you know, we have the tree line drive, or do we just do that at the front? And then we started talking about, well, but then is the parking lot where we want to spend some of our time and money? Because we asked, could it just be resurfaced? And they said, no, you can't. That the subsurface is so bad, you would put something on there, and in less than a year, you would be back at the same starting point with that. And then we started looking at, which is going to come up next, talking about we have an opportunity to put a soccer field, because right now we can't play any home games. We do not have a UIL soccer field. Can't have one at the stadium because of the slope. So when we started looking at that, it was like, okay, well, now we're going to have, anytime we do any kind of these improvements, we have to look at handicap accessibility and handicap parking, and we can be grandfathered in on some of the fire lanes, but if we start making any of these improvements, then it comes into that. So it came to, do we need to sit down and do a bit of a master plan on this? What is the board's appetite for just fixing at the front? Do you still want to do a light there? Do you want to look at what would it be for the whole traffic pattern with the neighborhood? So it just, as we started uncovering it, we came up with more questions than we had answers. So we're looking for a little bit of guidance. I didn't know if we wanted to do a workshop on this to discuss, but as the engineers started getting into it, they're like, well, we can give you all of this and tell you what this would be, but is this where you want to put your focus at, you know, because everything we were looking at was, well, this will be about 500,000 for this. It's like every time we turn around, it was 500,000. So we said, this is not a simple fix for the parking lot, for, you know, looking at new gates in the back. So that was our next step, is to see where does the board want to go with a master plan for the campus traffic.
I got something to say about that. Been over about a year since we were part of the discussions with the city and TxDOT and so on, for probably about 6 meetings. And after all the studies that TxDOT did, that's what came up, right? You know, and then they said that you have to add another lane to make it 4 lanes, because right now we're actually utilizing 3 lanes. And I know that every time you go in and around buildings, whatever, you know, the debt comes up, you know, money's curious, right? You know, so, I mean, we know what we got, you know, it's not good, you know. But, you know, we talked about the old entrance, you know, the old Maverick, and then we talked about the fire lanes and all this. And I know we need a soccer field. We need a lot of things around here. The only, you know, after there was discussion that property didn't belong to us, basically we knew that it belonged to us, you know, for a long time already. So the only thing I can say, and I know you mentioned, or at least the quote was mentioning, that it's going to cost us about $400,000 or somewhere around there to move the marquee and the sign. So, and I know the sign, last October we actually unanimously voted to implement one, you know, through, you know, us paying for it. And so the only thing I can say, something different if possible, I don't know. I mean, I've seen it in San Antonio and many other towns too, where since we own the property, you don't happen to have a picture of it, right? So you can see it up there?
The picture?
Yeah, of the actual property line, our property line.
So you're talking about this property, right, adjacent to the entry?
Well, here's the actual property line right here. I don't know if you want to see it or not, but basically here's your marquee and all that, and all this belongs to us. So basically, I was thinking as starting your 2 lanes on this side, you know, your division.
Yes.
You know, I mean.
And then the monument and the marquee don't have to be moved.
They don't have to move. Well, I know it, yeah, because I know it's done, because I mean they do it in a lot of different places, and whether, you know, how much money we can save on that, you know, portion of it, doing it that way, you know, just throwing a couple of lanes on the opposite side of the sign, you know, and you won't have to move. You got plenty of property, you know, to do that. So, and that eliminates that about 400,000 you are talking about, or 300,000
Well, but,
to move.
and that's the other issue is that all we hear is that it costs this and this and this much and this much, but we
It's
have
almost like
not
not willing
seen,
to do
and
it.
we haven't seen a physical quote to,
What I would propose, and my recommendation as project manager, is that we, I recommend that we have an off-site meeting to discuss this, and that we create a master plan as to maybe including the parking lot and this project and the soccer field and maybe something else. And then we can look at a cost, and then we can look at financing, or we can look at how we want to strategize that. But I think we need to put a plan in place. I know we had a plan for that, but I think as what his recommendations are and what the engineers are seeing, I think that we need to follow the lead of what the engineers and his recommendations are, because they are the people that know what's going on. And our parking lot at the high school needs to be redone. It has not been done since in the inception or when it was constructed in '97, I think.
Right, and I understand your point, and I'm just asking, if that's an option.
It is an option, but we'll have to investigate it because traffic on a textile roadway, you have to get permission to take a cut.
Oh, yeah,
That's
no,
the
no.
first thing that's gonna, and if they see that the traffic is
And if we
being
know it's gonna cost much,
impacted, yeah.
a whole lot more, another
Yeah.
$100,000 or whatever, then of course I don't wanna put that, because I know, like I said, I know we have, other things that we need to invest in.
What you're saying, sir, is split this and make another way to get out and leave that like a center island. That's what we're talking about right now.
Pretty much.
And so for all practical purposes, yes, that can be done. We've got to get the engineers to evaluate that and then have a conversation with TxDOT and see what they're gonna require. Like I said, because any curb cut on TxDOT highway, you gotta get their permission.
All the engineering will change.
Yeah, it will.
and just to bring this up, initially when we first started a little over a year ago, it was for safety concerns, and we found out that, there was a lot of people that, that were not in compliant in the speed limit, and there was several accidents reported in the past few years. And when we came about it, it was for safety concerns with their students that were crossing over. And so I'm stating that because now it's grown bigger. The issue has grown bigger, and now we're worried about parking lots that weren't even talked about in the TxDOT meetings, and I know that comes with making changes. So the other alternative is, when we discuss this with TxDOT, is getting a crossing guard, or was it crosswalk, and moving the crosswalk where it was initially, the first Maverick Drive, there. And so I was okay with that, because, if that helps, not only does that, we can put a cross guard there, also it would help us in the cost of what we're paying our sheriff department. I'm not gonna say how much we pay them, but it is much more than what a cross guard gets paid. So, that's another alternative. Initially, that's what we were going in for, and then, we started discussing with the traffic light, and now it's gotten bigger. So I would like to, I'm with Mr. Reyes on proposing, much more talk on it, and looking at, because it's been over a year already, and I do see that traffic. I go by there every morning, every afternoon, sometimes twice, 3 times a day, in the mornings and the afternoons. And the other day I counted 15 students that crossed over. And I don't know if it's because now we have sidewalks and they're utilizing them, but yeah.
Overall, good things that are happening on the infrastructure part with TxDOT. So this is just gonna be additional, but we also gotta look at the future of what the school is going to be and where we want to be. And so we're looking at a 3 to 5 year plan.
Right, and that's been the discussion for a while already.
Yeah, and that's what we need to do. That's the best direction to move.
Right. And I agree. I agree with all that. We've had those discussions that, long term, so.
So from what I'm hearing is we will just have a workshop in the future, but make it near future, not too far in the future. And we can discuss this and all the other bigger items in a workshop and make a decision from there and a recommendation from there.
We can do that. We'll have to get with Ron and kind of look at the other, because when we have the workshop, we want to have something to share with you. So it takes a little bit of time to get all those pieces together, so to speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. San Miguel.
No, no problem at all.
You still got more.
I wish I
correct?
could tell you that I was finished, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a miscellaneous project, and I'll go real fast. You know, Dr. Sport took me to the file room, which I was told was an old morgue room. Okay, a little scary going in there, but nevertheless, and look at all your plans. And you have a lot of plans, but you're lacking some as well. So one of the things that I did is I went through every single one of them, and I told Dr. Sport the other day, I said, now I get a history of the ISD since 1996, since 1960, because I see the old plans and how things were changing. It took me a while to find out, like, you know, how the high school, was it high school or junior high? I think it's high school, was enclosed because it used to be open buildings. And so I saw the plans where that happened. What's important about that is anytime we talk to an engineer or an architect, first thing they ask you is, do you have any plans? Well, we need to find out what we have. I cataloged every single plan that you have. I looked at them and tried to figure out when things happen and things of that nature. And we're in the process of putting that in an electronic database for you guys. Daniel had given me a file that I could start putting in there so that all our staff can see the plans, but only our staff, because we don't want that to go out to the public for security purposes. So the other thing we did is when MTR was up here doing the engineering and site work, they did a drone flyover. So now we got your complete campuses completely flight over, and we have PDF files and various other files that we can use for planning purposes. That's where I'm getting them. I'm asking consultants to provide me electronic copies, and I've contacted at least 3 firms, and some had to go dig the old files, but they found them and they're getting ready to send them to me. And then the rest of them, we're just gonna have to get them digitized. So we're gonna have to hire a company to go out there and actually scan them and put them in additional format so we can have a record of it. And then we can start doing the planning without having to, somebody, I think Chief was asking me while we were outside, if we don't do that, what happens? And I said, well, then you have to go to the old school and measure, and it is gonna take forever. And all you get is a floor plan. So that's going. We're also starting to plan for the future a little bit. Dr. Sporer had talked to me about, we want to plan a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, very similar to what we're talking about here. But what is the next roofing you're going to have to do? What is the next chillers or air conditioning you're going to have to replace before there's a catastrophe and it just dies on you? Those are things that we're asking consultants, how much would it cost to do an assessment, a comprehensive assessment, so that we can have a plan and then plan our capital improvements over time, because you still have to maintain your facilities, obviously. No secret that you got some flooring tiles popping up in various areas. There's at least 3 schools that I looked at, and I kind of felt a little bit bad for the custodians, because they're trying to buff and put water in it, and it's popping up, and they push it back down, and it's just it is a constant battle for them. We need to replace that flooring. That's what I told Dr. Sporer. There's no way to get around it. I wish I could tell you that there was something magical. Your maintenance department has done whatever they could to patch it, but it looks like a patch up because they don't make that tile anymore. So we're reviewing that to see what we can do to try to replace the sections of the campus. But Dr. Sporer also told me something. She said, you know, I go to these campuses and some of the colors are disjointed. And that means that there's like 5 different greens or 7 different greens. Is there something we can do? And I said, well, you need to get a palette. You need to settle on the grid and then develop a plan. And then we can look at the campus at large and see if we can paint areas, large areas, to make them cohesive and make them very attractive and certainly. Now, what I will tell you, being a facilities guy, is that paint is probably the less expensive that gets you the biggest impact on your schools. We're looking at that as well. Okay, soccer field. So as you know, Dr. Sporer mentioned it, that we don't have a UIL soccer field and we can't play there. One of the things that came up was the city had approached the district about the possibility of preparing a soccer field there. And I think I have that in the wrong place. I met the city manager, I think it was this field, not that one. I think it's right below it.
That's correct.
And
It's right there where the parking lot's at south.
Right there. So I apologize because I had it up here, but it's actually down here. So that being said, Had a conversation about what is it going to take to prepare it, and certainly from my perspective, they need to put new sod, they need to regrade it with a crown, it has to be a certain size, and it has to be maintained over time. So all of that, and I know the city said if you pay us X amount of dollars, we can do that for you. They need water. Not sure exactly where they're getting the water, but I know there's some ideas. So there's some challenges with this particular option. Then we said, why don't we just bring it on campus, somewhere on our campus? We've got to have somewhere we can play. So option 2 is a site that's next to the junior high here. And I had the engineers actually lay it out to make sure that it physically fits in there. And it does. We are very close to that corner, but it fits right in here. So that is sufficient room to do a soccer field there. However, it is irrigation. They don't have irrigation. So to do a soccer field or a grass field, you have to have water.
There's a big water line there that we can have access to.
There is one right there. Right, and they used to connect to it many moons ago. Yeah, so I was told it was right there. I didn't see it myself, but the technician, I can't remember his name, but anyways, he took me.
Right there where the batting cage is at, there's a water main.
Yeah. So there's water there. So that's a good thing, because you don't have to go tap in the middle of a street or something like that. It needs sodding, obviously, top dressing. Then if you're going to bring the public in there, you're going to have bleachers. And guess what? Like Dr. Spores said a few minutes ago, now the ADA hits you. I got to send those plans over, or you have to send them over to the state, and they're going to say, where's the ADA? So that's the challenge with some of these improvements. So there we said, well, let's go to the high school, talk to coach about it. As a matter of fact, we've been having conversations back and forth. And this one, you have a field existing already. So it's a good spot. There's sufficient room for it. It has some irrigation on it. It's adjacent to various support facilities, and there's adequate parking there. However, with the challenges with this, comes with what I just mentioned a while ago. Yeah, the ADA facilities, if you bring bleachers in there, you're going to have to do it. So that means pathways and things. And Ron has already laid it all out and gave us a preview of what I think is going to look like. So if we have the workshop, we can get into more details about what that looks like as well. So these are the 3 options that we came up with. And certainly, I would think it would be more desirable to keep it within the district, so you can have full control over it. And certainly, and the kids can just go from one place to the other, and that's it.
One of the nice things, if you go back to that, if you could, Leroy, when we look at that, it would include making a few little improvements that would also benefit softball. So the entrance path there would be improved, because we'd have to allow for an emergency vehicle to get back if they needed to.
Yeah, we would bring them either through here or through there.
It would help with some of the drainage. We were looking at the drainage, and you can see some of the, you can actually see in the, yeah, where the drainage is. We'd have to, put some paths there. So the nice thing about that is it's right there at the high school. It would be a regulation that any of our folks who use a football field could use. For being right there instead of having to go across if it were for practice, you name it. It would be nice to have. So that made the most sense to look at that. So he's kind of prepping out what would it cost kind of thing. And in the meantime, we found some areas back there of some other vehicles and things we need to pull out for auction, including all those buses. None of those buses work, by the way. So those are not currently in our fleet. They haven't been used for years. So anything that doesn't run anymore, it's headed over to Black Gold to be auctioned off at the start of the new year. But we will have some interesting plans for just some long-term options for that the engineers were looking at.
Sorry it was a little long. Like you see, there was a lot of information there that I'm now calling you a district on the move, because you're moving forward to do all kinds of good things to make sure our kids have the best environment, so that they can learn and participate in extracurricular activities. So thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity, and we'll talk
Thank you,
some
sir.
more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to item 6E, presentation by Lisa Fernandez, monthly financial report.
believe it's the quarterly investment report first. Good evening, everyone. This will be the quarterly investment report, which will include August through October for both our our general fund certificates of deposit, as well as the interest and sinking fund deposits, certificates of deposits. On this first screen, this is should be familiar for most of you board members because this is what we presented in the past. But you will see the total amount invested for the month was $30,500,000. And at the end, with the interest accrued, it was $30,611. I mean, $30,611. $30,611,506.58. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Is there a way to make it bigger? I cannot read that.
She's had the auditors here all week.
Yes, so I've had a twitch in this eye and a twitch in this eye, so I'm trying to. Yes, no? Okay. What I wanted to point out is that for the 3 months in all 3 funds, the exact total for the amounts invested is the same. The only thing that changed during that 3-month period was the interest accrued due to the rates as well as the number of days in each month. That's how it's accrued.
So the accrual or the interest, that moved to the checking account, I guess? That's what
Yes.
I'm seeing here? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm getting trigger happy with this. Again, this is for August 2025, and the total amount invested for the month was 1.3 million. After the interest was accrued, you have an additional 4,800. Again, these are going to be the exact same amounts as I go through the slides. For September, again, it was the exact same amount invested with $105,000 accrued, and that's what makes the difference in the total for the month. For the interest and sinking funds, again, the same amount was invested, and the difference was in the interest accrued based on the change of interest rates due to the renewing of those CDs. So the rates changed at that time. In October, again, you see the same pattern with the same amount invested of $30,500,000, and then the difference in the interest accrued with the total listed there. And for October, for the interest and sinking funds, again, it was 1.3 million, with the interest varying slightly, and a total of 1.3 million after the interest was accrued. For our Lone Star investment pool, the very first line shows the total from the previous month, from 9/1/2023 through 7/31/2024. That's wrong. That's the year off. It should be 9/1. No, that is correct. I'm sorry. And that is 1.1 million. And then the interest earned for August was $4,290.50. The next line is a GSC antitrust settlement. That's an annual settlement that they do around the same time every year, and it's usually very minimal. It was $2.65. The interest earned for September was $4,123.04. And in October, we received interest of $4,175.33. The total interest earned was $12,591.52, and the total investment for the quarter with year-to-date interest earned was $1,151,917.85. And that actually ends the investment report. I promise to make it bigger next time. So we used to do that on a monthly, but now we're going to do it quarterly and just proceeding it 3 months at a time.
That comply with rule?
Yes, you have to at least do it quarterly. We've just always done it monthly. Which is fine with me.
Prefer to see it monthly.
Okay.
What do y'all think?
Noted.
We can get the check when you get that.
Oh.
The check ledger?
That is now posted online, and that was just, yes, that was just a suggestion for us by our consultant to do, but if you'd like me to print this, I can do that.
It is online.
Yes.
Available for anybody to see.
Yes.
Anyone else have any questions?
Sure, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am.
I totally bumbled that.
Then we'll move on to item 7, the consent agenda. Oh, I lied, sorry.
Yes,
Trying to
sir.
skip ahead. We have item 6F, presentation by Dr. Jody Spoor, Superintendent Report.
October 2025 financials.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, the last 2 months, I've given you guys a condensed version of what we're going to see here tonight, and that's because that report is available through Ascender, but it is unable to pull the current information, so I had to go back to the long version that you had seen previously in prior months. It's going to give you the same information, it's just now more detailed. So on this screen, you will see the revenues in comparison with what we budgeted, what we've received, and the variance. This is for 1XX general funds, which includes athletics, band, swimming pool, and 199. So the total amount received in revenue was 7.6 million for the month of October, or by the month of October. And the majority of that was from the foundation school program from the state. We did not have any other resources in the month of October. On this screen, you will see the expenditures and encumbrances, also in comparison to the budgeted amounts. Again, the prior month's report showed it as just a summary. So what you see in the bold where it says total function, for example, 11 instruction, is what you saw on the previous report. So here is demonstrated functions 11, 12, and 13, which all are instructional supports, as well as 21 and 23, which are instructional and campus administration. The highest expenditure was in function 11. They, at the end of October, have spent approximately 20% of their budget. On this screen, you will see functions 31 at the top for counseling, 32 for attendance and social work, 33 for health services, 35 and 36 for co-curricular activities. The highest expenditure was that of the co-curricular activities that you can see on the bottom, 273,000. On this screen, you'll see functions 41 for general administration, 51 for facilities, maintenance and operations, 52 for safety and security, 53 for tech, and 61 for community services. Our highest expenditure was that for function 51 for maintenance and operation. For function 71, debt service, 93 for member shared service arrangements. That's where we pay our share of the SPED co-op. And then you see function 95 for the JJAEP and 99 for the appraisal district. The appraisal district, function 99, had the highest expenditure at 129,000 as of October. We had no other revenues come in. On this screen, it's referring to our food service fund. The total revenues received by October 31st were $273,000. And that majority came from the breakfast and lunch programs. The food service program only uses two functions, function 35 for food services and function 51 will be used for utilities. However, they don't have any expenditures at this time. It's only in function 35 with $422,000 expended. This is for our debt service fund, 511. Total revenue received was $39,000, and we had no expenditures, I believe. No expenditures. What we have are $895,000 encumbered at this time. Our debt service payments are at certain times of the year, and we just haven't gotten to those pay periods yet. So that's why you don't see any expenditures there. And that concludes the monthly financials report. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Now moving to item 6, Dr. Jody Spoor, Superintendent Report.
So this month, advance it for me. Before I begin, I would just like to say how very thankful I am. You know, we are, this time next week, we'll be into turkey prep, enjoying some days off that everybody here has certainly earned. It has been a very exciting and very busy time, and I'm just reminded that I'm living the dream. I mean, this was the dream, right? This was the dream. This is what I worked hard for a long time, and I do not take for granted the absolute wonderful warm reception this community has given me, and this is home. And just thank you all so very much for the opportunity to work with these amazing folks here in Pearsall. So, done a lot of professional community engagement. Was at the RAC meeting today, getting to meet with our local superintendents. I'll have a Zoom meeting with U.S. Rep. Tony Gonzalez tomorrow. We're really working on building relationships among this area's superintendents, doing a lot of work with Katula and Dilly as well, you know, talking about how we can make the most of some of the things that we do. You know, it makes sense since we're neighbors. So that's been a great piece. Also, I finished a couple of weeks ago the third series of the First Time Superintendent Academy. I'll have my last one in February, and then I guess I get to officially no longer be first timer. It's been fun to learn from the greats and to hear other superintendents and what they're going through, and for all of us to go, okay, well, we'll make it through this. Everybody has gone through similar stuff, and so we all learn from each other. That's been great. Here you can see a picture. We had professional development for our paras. We have sessions going on throughout the year where we come in and really help them in their craft. We realize that they are second teachers in the classroom, and we really want to give them an opportunity to grow professionally as well. Lots of PLCs, as you heard the principals talk about, you know, the data and what's going on. A lot of that has been new. We were able to bring in John Fezenden from Lead Forward, which is one of the gurus of all things data and accountability for the state, and we went to each of the campuses, and TFE came over to the intermediate school, and it was, you know, a lot of, okay, so this is how the state is going to measure us. Let's make sure that we understand it well, and that we're prepared for that, so that our students can show off, because we know that they can do better. We just need to be preparing them for what they're going to be tested on as well. Campus activities, we had finally got to have that bonfire. It was a lot of fun. I was glad we didn't have any wind. I'm sure the neighbors were as well. I was just thought I were going to burn that stuff all off. That was a lot of stuff that was kids called together. But it was great fun to get to have that tradition. And we did Thanksgiving lunches with loved ones. We'll finish up with the high school tomorrow, but there I am, hairnet and all, with the junior high folks. I'd like to give a shout out to my friends in the lunch line there. I got to serve the stuffing and green beans and the roll. But it was fun to watch all the junior high kids go through and just to be a part of a campus again. But they were great. We've had a Safety and Security Committee meeting. We found out we've got a few glitches in our own internal communications that came out that we've since started addressing. We also had a first responders meeting and got to talk to the DPS troopers and see some of the amazing software that they are using that just really made me feel extra safe. I mean, the way that they can pinpoint where the bodies are. You know, if you are identified as a law enforcement officer, they know exactly where you are. And while we're in there, they said, okay, boom, like here's Pearsall. So all of our guys immediately got on. And that was great to see. We've also sent our guys to training. Officer Ganda was very thrilled with the social media likes that he and the K-9 received. Toby, yes. And we're really proud of the training that they've done. They also, all the guys have new sidearms. We've got new equipment, and they're getting new training so that they're able to use all that. Some of their equipment was, 15 years old, wasn't working as well as it should, and we wanted to make sure if we've got an armed officer that we have an armed officer. So they're trained and equipped now. We also had the inaugural meeting and formation of our steering committee for the Pearsall Education Foundation. We're excited about what we're going to be able to do to support our staff and our students through the formation of this nonprofit 501c3 foundation serving Pearsall ISD. So that's what we've been doing. And next slide is just let you know where we are. We're at 1,903 kids as of snapshot, which was October 31st. And our attendance time was 93.9. So we're getting there. We're getting there. You can see each campus's 6 weeks attendance from first to second. So you usually see a little bit of a dip. So, we kind of did at the high school, which is traditionally what you see. We're really excited that the others were able to keep it up. Shout out to all the juniors and their parents who are going to come to school in better numbers. I know that's the high school. We've really been looking at that and finding, this is a concern. So we're just starting to drill down on why are some of the kids absent more often than others. We're also looking at our themes. We, in working with Ms. Grill, we found that we've got some reporting errors on PEMS, and that is something that we're working on, not only for attendance but enrollment and staff and student identifiers in the system. But you guys heard plenty about all the other great things going on in the district and the other reports, so that is it for this one for me. Thank you very much. Any questions? Where are we with the bus program? The bus program is here. We already had our onboarding, session 1 and 2. Adam and Daniel are, yes, I will hand the ball off to the guys who are actually sitting in the meeting.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Spohr, I can give you a very brief update on bus rec. So we have already had initial meetings with the company, onboarding meetings, and right now what we have been able to do is we will also, including all of the equipment, we've already received it, we've already installed it on the buses, and now the next phase is going to be able to do some training with our folks, and that is going to be happening over the breaks that we're going to be having. The tentative start date that we're wanting to be able to launch and really take it off the ground is when we come back after Christmas break. So that is going to be something that we're already seeing the benefits of just even what the system can do in terms of just creating the routes, getting all the things that are going to help us become more efficient and effective with our bus and transportation services. So we're really excited. It's been amazing to be able to see the capabilities that it has, and that also includes with the equipment, also cameras. I know y'all were able to approve cameras as well. We have also been able to get started on that as well. So that's going to be something where parents should feel a whole lot better with their students with the camera and the safety aspect. Full transparency, we did have a little bit of an incident that we had here last week, and we were able to pinpoint exactly what happened, when it happened, and the cameras were able to tell us exactly what was fact and maybe what was maybe assumptions based on what was reported, and it was very helpful to be able to appropriately address what the situation was. So, yeah.
And every kiddo will have a little scan card when they get on the bus, so we'll know where the kiddos are, and parents will be able to track where their bus is in live time. They'll be able to tell when the bus was moving, when the bus stopped. So we're excited about that from a safety perspective as well. So
build those routes in the system. So we're going to look for some more efficiencies in our reporting as well to the state, and looking at adding in some of those hazardous routes that are within 2 miles. We think we'll be able to get some of those efficiencies in with this routing software.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good question. Anyone else have any other questions? All right. Moving on to the consent agenda, item 7. Dr. Spohr.
So what we bring in consent are items that traditionally should not have a whole lot of discussion. You can pull them out if you have any questions. We do have our minutes from last month, as well as the Flexible School Day program, which we bring to you yearly. It's an additional, just like we've done in the past, it allows us to be flexible with the amount of time students are in a class in order to earn the credit. And then we also have the procurement method. This is a part of our track project, and we are asking that we do the sealed bid. We just have to come to you with the type of procurement we're going to do. Once we have those bids in, we'll bring you that information. And then lastly, we brought you the bilingual ESL presentation last month, and because we are seeking waivers for some of our teachers who do not have the certifications, we are asking for board approval to seek those waivers for the 1 bilingual teacher and 5 secondary ESL teachers for this school year.
I do have a question on that. So on the waivers that we're going to be requesting, are all these like new teachers that are on the waiver list, or are they repeaters?
Some of them are repeaters, and part of the what we do with the waiver is you have to submit a plan for how you're going to support those non-certified teachers, and then what is the goal to get them certified. So that will be included also in our personnel report. You'll be able to see exactly who people are and the different programs we're bringing in to help them get certified. But the goal is to get them certified this year, to get the ESL certification onto their teaching.
And the stipends as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then is there a deadline? Did y'all have a deadline for submitting that? There is no deadline.
For submitting the report.
For the waiver.
Yes. For submitting the waivers, we need board approval before I'll put it into TEAL. So that's why I'm coming to you rather than putting it in without the approval. But it's not like class size where you have 6 weeks to get it in. We just need to get it in.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? And if there's no further questions, can I get a motion on the item? I have a motion made by Marco Reyes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Dora Mata Rodriguez. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item 8A, action items, district energy contract. Dr. Spohr.
As you all know, we have an energy contract for the school district that expires this coming June, and we have with us here Mr. De Los Santos, Ruben De Los Santos, who's going to give us an overview of current market conditions, along with our suppliers' forward market perspectives. We are seeking to give some information as well as look at the potential to execute a contract moving forward should that opportunity present.
Good evening, President Aguilar, fellow board members, Dr. Spohr. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm going to be pretty quick and be able to field some questions. Because we could talk about energy for a long, long time. So I have this, I provided this in paper copy, and what I'm going to suggest is when we do get to the pricing sheet, let's just refer to the paper copy. We've got retailers that are actively competing. There's probably 3 or 4 of them watching this meeting right now. So just keep it competitive, and if that's okay with the board, that's what I would suggest. So, so just to recap, my name is Ruben De Los Santos. I'm with USource Energy. We're a division of Nextera Energy. Worked with the district for many years. Been monitoring the market for the last year. Maybe y'all probably remember me from the last board meeting earlier this year, 25. So current electricity market condition for the district. Basically, the contract expires in May of 26. You can lock into power contracts prior to your contract expiring, and the current contract price is 0.06876 per kilowatt hour. The retail supplier is TXU Energy. They won that through a competitive process. The district's contract is a governmental contract. It has certain elements that are important for a governmental entity, such as a non-appropriations clause, payment terms, and other components that are important for the district to have in an agreement. District uses about 6.5 million kilowatt hours annually. Aside from the commodity, the district also has AEP regulated charges. Those are still based upon a regulated tariff, just like the old days back before 2002, if you guys remember that. So AEP is still a partner. They provide basically the lines and the transformers and things of that nature. So the next page, this is just a picture's worth 1,000 words. These are ERCOT forward South Zone wholesale prices, and this is really the basis of where electricity prices are right now. The district locked into a 12-month term agreement earlier this year in April, and this is basically where each calendar year was at that point in time. Since then, we've seen the market basically stay steady, but then start to increase. And so this is where current market conditions are right now, to the far right of the graph. The market prices are higher. Not substantially higher, but they are higher. So, you know, the key here is the, you know, why is the market higher? And we could jump to the next slide, page 4. Yep. So there's basically yes, sir. No, it'll be slide very next one, slide 5.
Do you want that slide to show?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Let's hold on. Let's hold on this slide. So everybody knows about AI, right? So AI is the big deal right now. It's a big driver for energy prices. Commercial, our prices at home. I mean, that's just what we're dealing with. There's forward traders that know, well, they don't know, but they speculate what's going to happen years down the road. And right now, there's an imbalance, or there will be an imbalance in electricity generation, basically supply and required usage. So the demand growth is really significant, and it's going to continue. I mean, artificial intelligence has become a political event, and we're not going to turn away from it. I mean, so it's coming. These AI facilities, giant data centers, they consume just about as much as a whole power plant will provide. So there's a mad dash to build this stuff. The current political situation, regime is all for it, you know, both statewide and federally. So it's not going anywhere. We also have, you know, typical population growth in Texas, industrial growth. I mean, it just drives everything up. So the numbers going forward are pretty alarming. But there are certain things that are being done to you know, remedy the situation. ERCOT's done a really good job of ensuring that we didn't have any blowouts this summer. We peaked at about 86,000 megawatts in ERCOT. So, you know, we all like our electricity. I mean, I've been without, I'm from Corpus Christi. I've been without power for 5 days, and man, it is not fun. So generation will be built. It's going to take time. And, but here in the near term, there's really little to no expectations that prices are going to be dropping considerably. So right now, we actually have abnormally warm weather. Natural gas prices are pretty low. Weather can be a driver, and if we see weather, you know, extreme cold weather, we can see prices jump. So, the next page are just different different term prices from 12 to 120 months. Electricity is always a hindsight 2020 event. You look back in time and you say, we should have done this, I should have done this. I mean, it's not too different from buying stock, right? Or, you know, if we all had that foresight, none of us would probably be here right now. So it's just the way it is. I can tell you this, our electricity prices, even though they've jumped up a little bit from last year and quite a bit since the last 4 years, our state's power prices are still relatively low. I mean, if you go to California or New York's are twice this amount. They've got other factors that really increase the price. And California's, you know, they just subsidize all kinds of other elements where, you know, they're paying 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So these aren't the highest prices we've ever seen after dereg. We've seen higher prices like in 2009, 2010. And so the market's going to go up, it's going to go down. We just need something to come in. There's other forms of generation that are in the mix right now that are being studied. Hydrogen, small scale nuke, combined cycle natural gas has a favor right now. It's just that everything takes time. It's just going to take time. And so I would recommend that the district enter into an agreement not less than 36 months. That's what I would recommend. It's a competitive event, so these numbers here, basically what, and we can shout out the number if we want to, just for the record, but what I would recommend is to give Dr. Spoor the authority to execute a contract not to exceed this price and not to exceed this term. So if that makes sense. And then, you know, the last page is, you know, we can target other things. There's other programs that the district can tap into. Demand response programs. Right now, the district does a really good job of reducing power at the high school. The AEP charges there are very, very low. And so it helps the overall average for the district's delivery charges. And then there's energy efficiency. I mean, Mr. San Miguel touched on some of it, but you know, the best way to save electricity is not to use it, right? So any elements that can reduce your power consumption, you know, will benefit the district regardless of what your power price is. So long as your contract accommodates it, and that's what I'm here for, is to make sure that contract is a good contract. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
Do we have to say the amount, or can we say the reference to the price of the presentation?
I can say it that way. Reference to the sheet, that's, it'll be that line. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. 36.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion on this item?
Yes, sir. I move that the board authorize the superintendent to execute a contract with the best value supplier of a target price of no more than reference the line on the presentation with the term not to exceed 36 months.
Okay. Have a motion made by Lionel Gondara. Do I have a second? Have a second by Dora Mata Rodriguez. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 8B, retention incentive.
Good evening, board. So I am presenting today retention pay for our 25-26 school year. Said the siren. So why is retention pay important? As you can see, those are some of our staff members. They range all around, right? From teachers to secretaries to maintenance, operations, security, police, paraprofessionals. They are all important part of Pearsall ISD. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do the things we do for our kids, for anything. So why is it important? Because one, it supports staff morale and appreciation, recognition of dedication. Retention pay acknowledges employees' continued commitment to the district. Motivation to stay engaged. When staff see that longevity and consistent performance are rewarded, it boosts their morale and fosters a stronger sense of belonging. And also, it helps to promote a positive culture. It also increases employee satisfaction and loyalty. Providing retention pay demonstrates the district invests in its people, leading to higher job satisfaction and pride in their role. It also helps reduce turnover. Satisfied employees are less likely to leave. Also, it helps the district remain competitive. Surrounding districts offer stipends, bonuses, or retention incentives to retain skilled educators and support staff. Matching or exceeding these efforts will help Pearsall ISD remain an employer of choice. And it also helps with recruitment advantage. So when we go to job fairs, we're able to say, Pearsall ISD offers this retention incentive, whereas other districts around us do not. So obviously, the most important part is, oh, thank you. Our staff has come to expect it over the years. This is not the full history of when it started. This is just going back 11 years. It has been based on different things throughout the years. It started out with attendance, then it was on tenure. So that's where you see the different rates there. It was once done on tenure, so however long you were working with Pearsall ISD. And then in 2016, we moved to retention. So it was solely for retention to keep our current staff. So retention pay is more than just a financial incentive. It's a strategic investment in its people. It strengthens staff morale, enhances satisfaction within the district, and ensures Pearsall ISD remains competitive in attracting and retaining exceptional educators and support professionals. We are proposing right now a retention for per employee, $500 in December and $500 in May. We do have 326 full-time employees. The total cost per period is right there, $163,000 and $3,750. That would be just for one semester. If we do it for December and in May, that you would see the total cost there of $333,500. Don't have any questions?
Have any comments?
Well, I do want to say, you did mention that, you know, surrounding school districts have retention pays as well. And so pretty much if we do, like, if we all agreed or, you know, we moved on it, you said right now the amount would be $1,000 for
Full-time total.
Full-time, right?
Yes.
So I was going to suggest that could we consider maybe increasing the amount, but possibly dispersing it differently?
Of course, that's completely up to you all.
Right, but, you know, just some ideas that were different, and in the fact that if it's all about retaining teachers, I mean, I kind of hesitate with that in the sense, for the reason that, you know, we don't know where we're going to be in February. I mean, we all hope to be here, right? But, you know, to think about, yes, I want to remain at Pearsall ISD, it's a little challenging knowing that it's barely November. I think that it would only be better if we could say, where do you plan on being, maybe February or March? Because that's about the time that we also begin to offer our teachers' contracts. So my suggestion I would like for us to consider maybe something, and maybe possibly upping it to 1,500, and we would do a 750 now, because these people have already committed to returning to Pearsall ISD. So I think they need to be awarded for that. I think they should be compensated. But the other 750 would come possibly spring break and say, are you committed to returning? Because that is the time that we also need to think about how many teachers are we securing and how many teachers could we possibly be losing so that we could really get our recruitment efforts in full gear. So that is something that I would want, I believe that our staff needs to be compensated, but I also want to make it a more meaningful idea so that we are actually able to really retain our teachers, you know, with a little stronger means, I guess I should say. But just a suggestion, you know, you know, we know that our surrounding districts offer something similar. So what can we do to make it even a better, you know, offer to our teachers and staff?
Board, I agree with Ms. Laura Rodriguez as well. I had already, you know, tabulated 750 for, you know, 1,500 for the full-time and 750 for the part-time, which is like a 34% increase, you know, so, you know, it's just a suggestion, and I like the way she's talking about, you know, paying it out as well in those months during that time. But I'm, you know, I would like to make, or Laura make the motion for 1,500 for the full-time.
I think we need to look at
750.
I'm in agreement, but I'm also, you're looking at $500,000.
Right, 500,000 to 50.
You know, we need to look at that, and it can be a reoccurring cost, but again, it's a board decision, whatever the board wants to do. I just think that we need to see this year through, and I think we have this where we can cover it and maybe look at that for next year, but it's a board decision, whatever the majority wants. You know, I'm with you. I just think that it's you're talking $500,000.
It's an investment, like everything that we talked about. It's an investment. We have great teachers here. We're working to get more teachers highly qualified. So let's invest. Let's say, you know what, we've invested this much, so here's a bit more for you to consider staying with us. So, and again, it's all about what can Pearsall ISD do better. So to hire highly qualified staff to keep.
Yes.
And definitely improve the morale.
For sure. So just to clarify before, because I wrote down 750 for full time, and then it would be 375 for part timers.
Yes, because we would break it up into two payments. But I do want to say the second, you know, payout, should we approve, I think needs to come with a small contract saying you're accepting this amount at this time because as of now you are, you know, considering returning for the 26-27 school year.
And so I'm just asking for clarification, right? So if, let's say, they decide to resign at the end of the year, do we collect that back at the end of the year?
I say that.
Okay.
If it's already paid out and they don't stay with us, I think we collect it. Okay, it happened to me one time.
Okay.
Well, I'm asking for operational aspect. How hard would that be?
It wouldn't be hard. We've done it before.
It was their last paycheck. It was their last paycheck.
Right. So whenever we pay them out, we take that out and they put it back into our account. It's a win-win.
I just wanted to mention one thing as far as recouping
recouping the funds. It depends also if that person leaves and they don't have any more time. They may not have enough for us to actually recoup.
Right.
So just want you to understand that. If they've already used all their leave or their pay is going to be less than what we paid them, you can't recoup it.
Right. So we do send home a letter though that says that they need to pay us back.
But
Now
They
they
don't
don't
always do it.
historically, but we made the effort.
Payment plan. Well, and this is an offer based on a commitment
And retention.
and their loyalty.
Right.
That's all we can do. But I'm looking at it in the sense that if we want to, not have to lose teachers and we want to keep the best of the best, we have to do something a bit different. And we're making these strong efforts in trying to get our teachers highly qualified. All right, then if we're all in together, what are we going to do to compensate for those efforts?
And just as a reminder, it's not just, I know you mentioned teachers, but it's not just teachers, it's across the board. It's custodians, it's maintenance, it's part-time bus drivers, everybody.
It's our village.
I will say that it is our desire and our goal when we come in early spring with compensation package for next year that we would put this as a part of the compensation package. So from the get-go, people would be able to count on it. That was our concern, is that over the last 3 years, they've received this same amount and they're counting on it right now before the holidays come. And we just wanted to make sure that if that is what we're going to count on, we'd like to put it up front next year, so that if we do want to look at increasing, when we start looking at the total increase, in the compensation package for next year, that we would actually lay that out so that it wouldn't be something we're coming to you in the middle of the year for. It would already be set up. So we'll have this discussion again in a couple of months for what we would do next year, but this would be to get us through this year. But moving forward, we can lay out exactly when you would like for that to happen. These are the best times, if you want to go a little bit earlier. But if you will tell us the exact amount and the exact times that you want it on, then we can move forward with that.
I need my calculator, sorry. I had calculated I did assume maybe that y'all might want to increase it, but that I didn't do the 750, I did 1,000, so I needed my calculator. Sorry. The only reason I did 1,000 is because I don't know if y'all heard about the neighboring district, so that's the only reason I did that, but let me do this.
And is it possible to look at well, you know what, I have it here, never mind. I was just gonna look at the history of how long the amount had been the same.
Oh, so I had payroll. I had payroll look it up. I didn't have them go back to the beginning, but I just went back to 11 years ago. But it's gone further than that. So, how much further than that? Like when it actually began, I don't know.
The amount was like initially 500.
When we had ESSER money, it was $1,000, and then starting in 22, 23, so 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, the last 3 years, it's been 500 for full-time, 250 for part-time, twice a year.
So the total for the year would be 500,250.
No sabe el viejito.
And so, obviously, y'all would work on, like, putting a draft together of what that payment would, what the contract would look like for spring.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any other ideas?
Does anyone else want to say anything else there?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay. So the original idea was 500 and distributed times 2, right?
Right, and I had said December and May, sorry, but I know the suggestion was made December and March. So I would just need to know when y'all are approving it.
Approximately when do contracts go out?
March, April. March for admin and then April for the teachers.
So before spring break, that way we can.
Right. We would already know by then.
And when is it paying out here in December?
In December, yes.
So if we change
Unless
them
y'all
up,
want to change that, but that's going to cut it short. So.
yeah.
How about they could get paid before Black Friday?
Yes, and historically, I mean, we try. It's cutting it home.
I'm kidding.
Lisa's like turning away. She doesn't want to see. Like, no. I mean, I can talk to payroll and see if we could do it. Oh my gosh. See, we could do it like the Tuesday before payday, because it cannot be in conjunction with payday, so that they could have it for Black Friday. No, so you know how we're gonna get paid Wednesday, so maybe get it this Tuesday, so it's not payroll. We can't do that. I know we can't do that. It's too much. Because we're already working with. Yeah.
I was kidding, guys. It's okay.
December, March, we could say quarterly, So,
If I would please suggest that we wait until December, because again, we're trying to finish up audit. We
Yes.
have holidays, we're working during that, but not all staff can. And so there's, how many employees?
300. What is it? 341.
I have to literally find the account code for every single person on that list to give to payroll so it hits the right account. So it's not something that's going to
Yeah, we could just have it in December.
Yeah,
Okay.
understood. We got
So first week of December.
Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know that that difference from making it from 500. From 500 is from $333,500 to $500,250.
Yes.
So we're increasing $166,750. Cool. So if there's no further discussion, can I get a motion on this item?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the retention payments of $750 for full-time employees and $375 for part-time employees, paid once in December of 2025 and in March of 2026.
I have a motion made by Dora Mata Rodriguez. Do I have a second?
We're here at 750 times 2 and 375 times 2, correct?
Correct.
I second.
I have a second by Adrian Ramirez. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8, purchase Chromebooks. Mr. Garza?
Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Spohr, members of the board. Daniel Garza with the Technology Department. Looking at purchasing some student Chromebooks. Looking at, in the total inventory, we have 2,274 Chromebooks district-wide. You see the breakdowns there of what's at junior high, Ted Flores, and intermediate. A lot of these Chromebooks are older. A lot of them were, before 2021. I know the last ESSER grant, we got some newer Chromebooks, so those are still good and effective, being used throughout there at the high school campus. Currently, the junior high is classroom sets in the core curriculum classes. We got Spanish and I believe maybe art that has a cart as well. Intermediate is all cart-based, and at Ted Flores Elementary, you do got the little 16 cabinets. You got 2 of those in each classroom. So, and at our high school, we're 1-to-1. We're looking at purchasing 1,900 Chromebooks with the Google management license. Of course, we replaced the Chromebooks at junior high. That's the worst campus. They have the oldest Chromebooks, and then they have some laptops that we converted to Chromebooks with Google Flex. So those are pretty obsolete already. The hinges are falling apart. They're showing signs of wear and tear. Next, we would focus on Ted Flores Elementary, and then the intermediate campus. And then, of course, because high school still has a good amount of newer Chromebooks, we're just looking at replacing about 195. recommending, or I'm recommending going with the HP Fortis 11. The speed is up to 2 gigs. I think the current ones we have, some of those older ones are at 1 gig, so it's almost double the speed. Of course, still with an 11-inch screen, and these are touch capable. So that would be across the board. Right now we have some that are not touch, some that are not. So everybody would have a touch Chromebook. So we're looking at a cost for the Chromebooks at $1,900. We got it down to $229.99. A lot of haggling with the vendors, and from $270 to $250, I think was the initial pricing, and kind of just back and forth, back and forth. The OS management license at $1,900. Licenses at $30. We have to buy those. We can't not manage the Chromebooks without them. So that's $57,000. The white glove service, of course, Intech Southwest is the vendor we're proposing. They'll do the asset enrollment, white tag, tag it and stuff like that, and then deliver it to us. That's, of course, free of charge. Make sure they threw that in. Any questions or concerns?
Yes, I have a question. Are these the Chromebooks that we were maybe to one time, maybe the kids can keep them with them? Or are you gonna collect inventory?
No,
and
these
then
are,
give back?
no, these would be the Chromebooks that they would stay with the district, yeah. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So
The
at
ones that
end
we're
of the
talking
year-
about possibly doing where they would keep them would be like our college course kids. Those would get a laptop, not so much a Chromebook. It's a little bit better suited for them.
So what do we do with the Chromebooks that you're going to collect back?
These, but the ones that are good, we're gonna actually put those back into like testing carts and replace the testing carts, kind of recycle those and get rid of the older Chromebooks, and those will go off to be recycled. I don't know how it comes to every district is different. I know from my previous districts, we couldn't give equipment out because it's purchased with public funds and there was always a tie to it. I don't know if that's something that's changed from the last time that I knew that. I knew we couldn't, but.
I know the other school district, they put it on the online pros auction as well. So
Yes, yes, sir.
they clean them up.
Yes, sir.
I thought y'all sent them to auction or something.
No, usually we just send them off to the recycling program. And some recycling programs offer credits for what you give them, so, yeah.
And then it hopes to increase our dual enrollment, and how are we gonna be getting those new ones that are laptop all the time, or? Cause you said those dual will get laptops and then other students get Chromebooks.
Yes, ma'am. So we're looking at the dual credit kids actually getting a laptop for their college courses. Cause I know sometimes there's a few issues with Chromebooks, or like the Word documents, the professors want it in Word, and, we use Google Docs here within the district. So
And those kids will also be able to keep those laptops?
that's one, again, it's one of those public fund things. I would defer that to the business manager or Dr. Spar. I know that we can't, I know from what I know, you're not supposed to give that equipment, right? There has to be some type of, it's like, yeah, like the buses there at the Black Gold, I can't hear you go on now. Yeah. So you can't, yeah.
You distribute and you collect and you inventory, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So every end of the year, you're gonna be doing that?
Yes, ma'am.
But the kid gets the same one?
Yes, ma'am, at the high school.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
at the,
what happens when they exit? Do they take it with them?
no, ma'am. It's district property.
Okay, see, I misunderstood when I heard the kids can keep them and take them.
Oh.
That's a goal we have. and
That's
That's
a-
a goal we can work on with the Education Foundation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
But essentially, the kids will be able to keep them. They will have that computer that will follow them through their high school career. So they'll have a computer, and then we'll look at what we can do for them to be able to keep them.
With the classrooms right now, they have charging carts, like charging capabilities for the ones that don't have the one-to-one, right? All the other campuses?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The carts, yeah. Okay. On this item?
I move that we approve the purchase of student Chromebooks as presented.
I have a motion made by Lionel Gondara. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second by Mari Benavides. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Board. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8E, District of Innovation Amendment.
Okay, good evening once again, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Spohr, and remaining guests in the audience. Here this evening, I present to you the District of Innovation Plan amendments. So we do have two items that we're going to be looking at doing with our District of Innovation Plan. The first of them being removal of the exemption of the School Health Advisory Committee, as this is no longer an exemption that is allowable through the state of Texas. So we have, as a quick update, we have actually been in the process of reestablishing our School Health Advisory Council. We also are going to be looking at our first meeting coming up in the month of December. So just a quick update on that. So removing that from our District Innovation Plan is going to be a necessary thing for the state. The second is an exemption from the newly enacted grievance policies in continuation with the current grievance forms, processes, and procedures that are established already in Pearsall ISD. We are wanting to have through our DOI plan an exemption that allows us to continue using those. We feel that it is going to be in the best interest of the district going forward to continue with our current practices and be exempt from the newly enacted policies and continue with our old ones that we feel are currently best meeting the needs of our district. Those are the two that we are proposing. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, that's a list of people that are on here?
No, it's the previous one. That's a no.
You're eliminating that list?
No. What we brought to you last time was for us to be able to reestablish the SHAC committee. But what we were not able to do is to have it as an exemption for us to not have one, because the state says that we're no longer able to do that, and we have to have a school health advisory council.
Right, that one that's on there, so the previous committee. Is that why we haven't contacted the members, the committee members that we approved?
Yeah, we are very much just establishing the committee from the ground up again. So
Right, that's why we haven't contacted.
Yes, that's why, and we're gonna be having an upcoming meeting in December, so yes. We're just in the process of just getting it back from, I believe, it's been several years that the District of Innovation exemption was in there for not having a shack. So yes, we're just in the process of reestablishing it.
If I may, when you're looking at that attachment to your board book that has the District of Innovation Plan, that has all the original documents, the original timeline, the original committee that established it. So that's why you will see names on there who are no longer with the district, but we keep that in there in the original piece. So that particular committee you'll see there is the original committee that created the original DOI. And now when we bring you an amendment, we don't change some of that stuff at the beginning.
Anyone else have any questions on this item? And if not, can I get a motion?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the District of Innovation Plan.
I'll second.
Motion made by Adrian Ramirez and second made by Lionel Gonda. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to
Thank you.
item 8.
Thank you.
8D, TASB localized policy manual update for 126.
So as you all know, we had a very active legislative session this last year, and this update 126 has revisions to the legal framework documents from that 89th legislative session. You can see that it covers a multitude of policies. It's a total of 1,400 pages. And some of these took effect in September. So this TASB just brought it out to us, and what we are asking is for us to go ahead and accept these minus the grievance policies that we just asked for in the District of Innovation. That is one thing that we can waive, is to keep our original grievance timelines as opposed to the new ones. So instead of, for example, having a 90-day period when a grievance could be filed, we're keeping it to the original timeline that we had set, in large part because, for example, if we had to go back to cameras, we don't have data for that for 90 days. And oftentimes the timeliness of it impacts our ability to respond effectively. So the DOI language to keep our grievance policy as is was written by our district's attorney, Jamison Baker, to keep that. So we're asking to accept the new policies except for those particular policies, DGBA, FNG, GF. All of those are the legal and local policies.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion on this item?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the localized policy manual update, 126, with the exception of the DGBA legal local, FNG legal local, and GF legal local.
I have a motion made by Dora Mata Rodriguez. Do I have a second? I have a second by Marco Reyes. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. So the board will now adjourn into closed session in a closed meeting in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074 to for deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignations, terminations, reassignments, and retirements. Human resource report and formative superintendent evaluation, and then Government Code 551.072 for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of property. The time is now 9:37 p.m. and we will now adjourn into closed session.